That works for me. Righto.
Okay, so that brings us to the start of session 87, or else as I number it, season 5, episode 2. Today we have a couple of people online, and I will get... Oh, okay, so we'll have Ariadna at the table going first.
Am I on camera?
You are on multiple cameras.
So I'm Thala, an elf druid who is currently exploring a spaceship, and hopefully not going to be wrapped up by any more grey sheet type carpet creatures who are very hard to see and therefore very hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's an okay introduction.
That is an okay introduction.
Sorry, not on my game, getting coffee now. Hopefully better on my game.
Hopefully better after coffee.
Yep.
So, online, I will go with M if she's available.
I am, but we have no screens on, she's not on the bed. Is it this one? Oh, we can hear it.
Well, I'll go over to Rory in the meantime to introduce himself and his character.
Alrighty, as you already know, my name is Rory. My character, his name is Avilios. He is a high elf ranger, alignment chaotic good. Yeah, I just let's find a way to introduce him.
Well, describe how he looks.
Visual descriptions that I've always been hard at. I guess the easiest way for me to describe it is just a typical high elf. Strong pin.
I didn't know
Kind of
that.
rugged for a high elf, and
So say, I didn't realise high elves could be described as typical. They're all special, right? I'm teasing.
I guess you can. I know. Pretty typical from a elf's point of view, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I finally remembered who the heck I am. It's okay.
Always comes in handy.
We're all getting better at our introductions as we go.
Well, I get them to do it at the start of every session to help them with introducing themselves. They have travelling with them a Dragonborn NPC by the name of Drazzle, who specializes in time travel and speaks in riddles.
Loves cookies
He does.
and is also an exceptional hugger.
He can't seem to cure wounds unless there's a hug involved.
And he has a horse companion who looks anything like anything other than a horse. So that's always interesting.
Well, horse is its name.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, probably what, demon? That's our best guess. I forgot to get a pencil as well. Oh, thank you.
Choice of two.
Choice of two. I'm spoiled.
Crisis averted, we have biscuits.
So,
You have biscuit?
Oh, I was going to say biscuits. Crisis averted. This sounds actually like a typical parental solution to crises of screams.
Yeah.
bribery always works, right?
Yeah, bribery always works. Don't roll these eyes at that.
I hate it when bribery works.
If it didn't, people wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's relevant,
Yeah.
especially how slow she is.
Yeah, we've been having a bit of problems with her being sick this week, so she's a bit sorry for herself.
Oh, yeah. Aren't we all when we're a bit sick?
No, just now. We're just tired because she's been awake a lot in pain.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry to hear that.
So-
Are you guys up to introducing yourselves?
Well, Josh can probably introduce himself if he stands close enough to my mic, because he's still not on anything. But I can introduce myself.
We'll go with you first.
I am Zal, your ever-lovable cleric wizard.
Harold Ranger.
There you go, hopefully you heard that.
Successful
Yeah,
cleric.
Harold Ranger. You say that?
So we're doing one syllable right now.
Yeah. I have my rolling list of animal companions. Chocobo the Axe Freak, Armus the Herbivore, I think.
Yep, the Celestial
and-
Warhorse.
Yep. And
Is it
I
Atlas?
think Aries
Atlas, I
or
think you went with.
the other one. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was Aries. No, the Griffin.
That's okay, I'm sure it will get a personality complex if I keep changing its name.
Yeah, of course.
I will say I have it in the record as being decided on Atlas.
That is what I wrote down
okay.
too.
Yeah.
But you can call him Aries as much as you like and see if he doesn't answer.
Because you decided you liked that a little bit better.
Yes, that is correct.
That is literally word for
Atlas
word what
the
I wrote.
Griffin. And we have had a bit of time away as a party from what I remember, and we have just gotten together again to go adventuring.
Well, last week we were on a spaceship, but I gather after we finish introductions, Martin will do a summary.
Yep. I will do a summary when we get there.
Yeah, so we just need to do Cheval, because we don't have a Zoos.
Well, I was just going to see what we had
Yeah.
going first. I don't think I got a response from Sue. I was just checking that in there. So we've got no word about other people.
And was Josh ready to do anything?
And we'll get Josh to do his intro. Though I might say that for Josh's intro, the mic's on mute.
Apparently I'm on train for.
Hi, I'm Josh. I play Cheval.
Oh god, my eyes.
So Cheval is a Phygenazi paladin. Tried to take a little bit of power from her god, but got caught up in her hindsightedness, and now is cursed ever to scream paladin at everyone who sees her. Probably hot-headed, we're always going to do good. You will go for not so much good. You love it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure firebombing a town is not good.
I'm sure they were all bad. I'm sure they were all bad in his well, her view.
We'll push out to 780.
Okay, so besides that, the storyline that you had taken on was to see if you could get pilfering back to his people by not heading to his people, which was an interesting choice, mind you.
That was Ross's choice, not ours.
It was perfectly his choice. He was given the choice of finding out where his people are or where his people came from. He was more interested in where they came from than where they are, so obviously he doesn't want to give up his ward just anytime soon. With that, you've discovered that the ward had been found in the mountains between Rockholm, Alfheim and Darakan, and set out to explore an area that no one seems to reach, and has a lot of strange creatures in it. Finding a steel door, you managed to use magic to gain entry after one of you got trapped inside, and then were almost beaten up by the first creature you came across. The fun of that sort of stuff happening.
That was a smothering sheet-like creature. Did we have a name for that?
You can name it whatever you like, but you've never seen it before, so it's very hard to name it anything other than smothery sheet-like thing. If you've seen multiples of them, or you've read about them in some form of literature, then it's a lot easier to name what the creature is.
So, I gather we're opening up this session just after that battle's finished. Sorry, I'm trying to do coughing and...
Yeah. You also seem to be doing a lot of GMing too.
I was just going to say, sorry, I didn't mean to GM for you.
It's okay.
Just trying to remember what was going on. Did you want to finish?
No, it's okay. I'll let you finish.
Oh, no, it's better coming from you. I've learnt this in the past. I apologise.
It's okay. So I was going to ask, did you want to continue the story in the alien spaceship introducing a new character, or did you want to go on to a different story and come back to this one another time? And that was where I'm asking the players, so at least they get a choice of what happens.
Because we don't have Ross here and we need him.
Well, you're doing someone else's story without them.
Yeah.
And you could quite easily finish what he needs in the story while he's not here.
Yeah. And after all this time, I think Ross would like to do that for himself. So
I'm happy to retreat after the wall attack us and regroup and do something else for a while.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm happy to. It'll be a bit too much to try and. Yes, sorry, my side's burning really badly.
Okay.
Not communicating the best today.
So, what's going to happen then is there's going to be some time passing, because you'll have to figure out how you get back and tell Ross exactly where you're up to. And I'm trying to figure out which game date it's supposed to be. As I fix it on our time thing.
So I'm just gonna get. I realize that I can give Josh my other earpiece, so I can listen in. But I just want to see if you can hear him when he talks.
Okay, let's find out.
Did you hear that?
It sounded like a mumble and a mutter from a Josh.
Okay, maybe the earpiece is on this side.
I can hear him through your earpiece, not through his earpiece.
Yeah, okay, so if he needs to talk, I'll just make it English.
Talk really loudly.
Learn to project.
At least give you what's going on.
Just a little bit left here.
Yes. So, to give Rory an update on each of the characters from the GM's perspective, you have in the party a elven druid which is Ariadna, called Thea, who is traveling the world trying to find stories for her Tree of Life, which is the foundation of all elven culture.
And I apologise now because I've just realised, just from Martin saying that, how crap my introduction was today. Many apologies.
And so with the Tree of Life being the cornerstone of elven civilization and lifeblood, when the trees die, all the elves die, no matter which elf type they are. And currently the elves are siphoning off the life force of their own trees to try to move them to stop a person questing to become a god from wiping out all elves by claiming a tree. So there's a bit of a story back in there about what's happening with the elves. Then we have Zal, the Ethengarian horse warrior priest, who is a cleric of Yamuga, the Yurt Dweller, a aspect of Mother Earth, as well as a necromancer who has a book of necromancy that he will beat people up with to see if it will heal them, and sometimes it does. Has a menagerie of animals from when he was a ranger and decided to jump across a river and stab a flopping fish on a bank. At which point he became a failed ranger and turned into the cleric necromancer we have today. Then we have Chauvel, which is a Genasi, also from Ethengar, horse warrior, and is a paladin of Tubak the Lawbringer, which is an aspect of the sun god, and is traveling the world with the others to bring light to all those dark places. And if you see the paladin's vestments in any way, shape or form, you get the word paladin shouted in your brain in your own language at volume. Now the NPCs that haven't been described so far are Imni, the horse warrior, who is a ranger and was once the devotee of a hero of Ethengar who fell into disrepute from her choices of saving her family over her people and her friends, and has become an exile from her lands due to her beliefs. And the last one to worry about at this stage is Yodri, a halfling pirate extraordinaire who stole a gnomish airship and crashed it into the side of the mountain because, well, he was drunk when he did it. And when he was on trial for stealing the relief effort the gnomes were putting to save a couple of towns, he said it was there, so I stole it. So he managed to get as penance the requirement to take a small little goblin-like creature that's over 500 years old back to his family, and be unable to be rid of his charge until he does so. If his charge dies before he manages to do so, he will die himself. So he's got reasons to want to keep his charge alive. And with all the other groups, they have joined on a quest for a sponsor by the name of Redrian, who has asked them to look into strange occurrences around the world, such as new gods and cults, changes to existing cultures, my brain is not actually able to read that clearly, which is always fun. No, we'll just open it here so I can read it better. strange events and policy changes, and technology advancements and wonders. So all those are fun things that have been happening, and they've just learnt that the two biggest empires in the world have declared war, and that a war is imminent. From a player's perspective, war is level 11.
And we're at 10?
So they get a short time before war breaks out across the region.
Right.
And that's sort of the introduction to where everything is at this stage. And I am going to say that a month has passed since you were at the door. You have reached the town of Selenica, or city of Selenica.
Selenica?
And I am going to ask, what does our High Elf have as something he has been trying to achieve?
A goal?
Yes, what is Rory's character's goal?
Can you also spell your name for me so I got it right in my journal, please?
That will be a prompting for Rory.
Muted?
Hello, Rory.
Stepped away? Become so abhorrent at my lousy introduction.
I know his
Right.
mic's on, he just doesn't seem to be responding.
I'm scared of another one already.
Yeah. I guess I'll be asking then Em and Josh if they had something that they wanted to.
Could I interject momentarily?
You could interject.
There were a number of tasks that Redrian was going to send us off to do. There was like 8 things. And we had this little bit of time to do Gilfrin's thing, but maybe we could revisit the missions he had and pick a different mission to complete, so we're still contributing to the war effort, or the defense effort for the war, and we don't end up getting sidetracked like we did late last year. How does that sound to everyone?
Is it possible?
Emmy? Josh?
Rory?
Just give me a sec.
All good.
Sorry, just about to feed me up, so.
We got a thumbs up from Rory, as I believe he can't speak at the moment.
Okay. I had those tasks written down, but I can't find them in my journal.
It's okay, I can read through some of them again. The ones you have in Darrakan, rumours of a warthog-headed Rakshasa has gained influence over a town magistrate nearby.
Yep. So
And that there's a clockwork automation seen loose in the area.
So we've got the Rakshasa that we think is possessing or influencing a magistrate.
I said influencing.
Influencing. In a bad way.
I was going to say, if we had a month off, I wouldn't mind to make it easier to get back to that spaceship when we have roles. If it was possible for me and my followers to kind of map out that area we were in on our mounts.
Possibly,
just
except
make it easier to get in and out if we know the area better.
the main issue you have is there's a field over it making you see something other than what you're looking at.
Oh, right, that's right.
It has an obscuration field.
Even though we know it's there.
even though you know it's there.
Okay. Okay, well then, ignore me. I'm happy to do veterans quests because that helps our storyline anyway.
Well, that's why you had so much trouble getting in there in the first place.
Yeah. Right.
So there was the clockwork thingy, the Rakshasa thingy.
They're in Darrakan itself, unless you
Yeah.
want to go further afield.
Well, do we want to? Are there any near where the ship is? Okay. Oh, actually.
Well, if you go to
Emmy.
Rockholm, you've got no reason to meet up with the Elven character.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to. Emmy, when Ross had two choices. One of the choices was to find out where he was left and to find his people now. If we, by leaving that place, even if we can't find it, I don't think it matters too much because we could always encourage Ross to actually find the people that we need to take him to, which was the other choice. So we'd probably have to start that from scratch anyway. So mapping the area wouldn't be such a big deal.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Alright, so do we want to stay in Darrakan or do we want to go further afield?
It doesn't really matter where we go at this point. I guess whatever interests the party more. So what did I hear about automation?
Or
war or
Rakshasa.
something?
A Rakshasa or an automaton.
The Rakshasa was influencing a magistrate in the area, so I'm guessing this is not a good thing. And then the clockwork automaton was seeming to be running around without anyone in charge of it. And so Redrian wanted that investigated. Is it okay if we hear the other quests?
You can.
You're just finding them?
It's just a lot to go through, that's all.
I'm happy with the choice of just two.
Okay.
I mean, the Rakshasa interests me more for the fact that I was temporarily playing one for a while.
I think Racasta's a good choice as well because it would interest Cheval, I'm pretty sure. Because that's one of the things I'm pretty sure Cheval would be against, and it sounds like a challenge. Is Cheval / Josh or Rory able to put in a vote?
No, he's feeding me right now.
Do you think he would like the Rakshasa route as well?
As a
Rakshasa,
player,
not
he would
Rakshasa.
probably like the automation as a character.
And it was Rakshasa, not Rakshasa.
Rakshasa. How do you spell that?
Rakshasa. That's the demon.
Shasa. Rakshasa. Okay, cool. And it's a demon. I think demons are right up Cheval's alley in terms of she wants to get rid of them. Oh, I say two of us are in favour of the Rakshasa. We've got one maybe and one unknown.
Well, no votes are abstaining.
Let's go with that.
So you've chosen to take on the Rakshasa.
So we do have Emmy here today. And hopefully we have a Josh soon.
Soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yes, you have been told that one of the areas nearby, and I'll bring the town up when I can figure out which one it is. Yeah, I didn't get that map done across yet. Okay, I'll just pinch another one. That should be able to do so.
What's this, a map?
Yeah, trying to get the map in view.
Is this you talking really quietly?
Yeah, I'm talking to myself while I'm doing it, as I'm trying to get it to work and not do lots of different words at the same time. Yeah, sorry, just struggling with my hands.
Do you need your gloves?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so the town of Nemiston is where you've heard it at.
Nemiston. So we're travelling to Nemiston?
Yep. Well, you've reached Nemiston. I'm happy to say that has happened.
Oh, so travel to... What is Nemiston like? Aside from being difficult to pronounce.
Well, it's Nemiston. It is in a heavily forested area with a huge road going through. And Rory's mic is playing up, which is why he's not speaking up.
Yep. So, that's it. Heavily forest, big road.
If you give me 10 minutes, I can look up the book and get more information.
Oh, usually you do more information, that's why I was
I hadn't planned for not doing what we're doing, so I normally have a lot more research up my sleeve.
That's okay.
It's what happens when I get
Not
thrown
being
out.
attacked.
And I lost my computer setup recently.
I guess we will go to the local tavern and...
If you give me a moment, I'll try to find the details. Which is one of those fun things of not everything being accessible.
Did you need me to grab your book? Or
Yeah.
it's easier if you're doing it on...
There'd be lots of books to go through to find.
Okay, we'll just ask him.
Sorry, I'm just trying to go to location.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Josh. I can hear a Josh.
Yeah, I'm on my computer, finally. He went to bed, so...
Well, it doesn't sound like she stayed up too late, so that's not too bad.
I've been, like I'm saying, her tummy's a bit upset at the moment, with all the hand, foot and mouth.
Yeah, and she's also teething at the same time, I think you said.
Which is what we thought when we were on Sunday. But then on Monday morning we got notice from the daycare. And took her to the walking centre at Pugmouth.
And yeah, they saw small blisters in her mouth, so...
She didn't have those on Saturday or Sunday. But clearly she was suffering from that.
Yeah.
And I can say is yay for daycare.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, this is the probably the second big thing she's got in the area. Most of it.
And in a way, it's kind of good for their immune system. It's just not fun for them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the rundown of Nemiston, of where you've just travelled to. Besides being a town on the Darrakan Road in southern Darrakan, it's a major stopping point between Darrakan and Salenica, well, Darrakan City and Salenica. And it's on the southern edge of the Kingdom of Alfheim. There are several large inns and taverns catering to travellers. It does not nearly have a reputation for hospitality that some of the other towns do have. Most people here are just particularly not friendly.
Interesting. It's a major stop for travellers, but not friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's noted for not being friendly. It has a population of over 4,000 people. So it's a fairly large town.
I was going to say, in Dungeons & Dragons settings, is that large?
Dungeons and Dragons settings, that makes it a town. and it does a fair amount of logging of the Canalbath forest, which is where Elfheim's from. And most of the town people are of an artistic bend. Rather than making furniture, wagons, chests, and the like from timber, the artisans prefer to do wood carvings, puzzle boxes, wood inlaid items, and other goods that stress artistic nature rather than practicality.
That's really interesting then, because when you're artists and you're a major travelling scholar, normally you're very friendly to travellers because they're going to buy all your art.
Yeah, except most of Dorokin is built around practicality over artism.
Okay.
So by being artistic, they are at odds with the belief of the people.
So they're not friendly because a lot of people travelling through don't appreciate them for what they are.
They're more unfriendly because the government doesn't support them for what they do.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because they don't fall in line with the way the other people do and are treated differently.
Okay.
So several Nemiston artists have national reputations and do quite well, while many others still make a decent living. So even though they are fairly well standoffish compared to others, they seem to do pretty well anyway. Another area where it stands out is the town of Nemiston doesn't get along with the elves of Elfheim.
Oh, that could be a problem.
Because, well, they are foresters and they do cut down the trees of Elfheim.
Would that be our new player as well?
Yes,
Because he's a high elf.
quite possibly.
And I'm a tree speaker, so I'd probably prefer my trees standing than logged.
Well, if they were to log your tree, they would most likely kill your tribe.
I have a feeling Thala would be okay if they had tree plantations that they were logging from. Not okay if they're just widespread wiping out forests.
So, continuing the description. While there does not appear to be intense hatred, elves are not are made to feel unwelcome in the town. And the elves don't seem to notice that much and have a tendency to play tricks on the townsfolk.
They play tricks on
The townsfolk.
the townsfolk or travellers as well?
The townsfolk. The elves play tricks on
Oh,
the
the
townsfolk.
elves play tricks on the... Okay.
So instead of hating in return,
Yeah.
they play tricks.
Yeah. Thanks.
So one of the elven favourite pastimes in the area is to drive large groups of essentially harmless forest creatures like squirrels, grasshoppers, into the centre of the town in the middle of the night and turn them loose. Which feeds the unfriendliness of the town. And that's the situation you guys are heading into with two elves amongst you.
Knowing this about that, I would like to either... I want to hide my features in some manner or another.
You are taller than humans.
Yes, but that doesn't mean I can't pretend I'm not an elf. Elf. Is it Elfheim?
Elfheim.
Or I could travel in animal. I can mind speak to people when I'm an animal, can't I?
Not necessarily.
Well, I'll just double check. But just so you know, that's...
Rory, do you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Rory.
Sweet.
I can disguise myself.
You can.
I'm just going to look that up while everybody else does everything.
Okay, so did you hear the description, Rory?
Yes and no. I only heard parts of it because of how clustered I was trying to figure out my microphone problem.
Okay, so you're meeting up with these other people at a town by the name of Nemiston, which is not particularly friendly to elves, and elves have a tendency to play practical jokes on them.
Right.
They do log the elven forest. So they do have a dislike of each other through that, but it's more dislike from the humans and more disinterest from the elves.
I've decided to disguise as in order since I too am an elf, and I don't want to get any extra hostility just for my race. So,
Considering that 100 years is adulthood for an elf, and having the humans around for that long is very rare.
Right. Yes. Ultimately, I'll have my character disguise himself as well.
Okay, so as an elf, you will be between 7 and 8 feet tall.
I was gonna say, can't you guys just wear like a hood? Because there's no way you can disguise your height.
well, I'm a druid, so technically I could walk around as an animal for most of it. What I'm looking for is whether or not I can. I'm fairly sure I can. Martin's said that I can speak to things with my mind, but it might be other animals and trees, not people. So I'm just looking to see.
Find a menagerie of animals.
I'm just looking up my wild shape rules here.
I'm pretty sure you can turn into a wolf, can't you? You can join the armless.
Yeah, well that's it. I can turn into lots of things. As I said, I just want to see if I can communicate with you guys while I'm an animal. That's all. I'm just checking quickly now.
So, in reference to the characters, it has been 500 years roughly since the elves were at war with the nation of Darakan. And for the humans here, that is probably about 20 generations at least. And for the elves, there's quite a few elves who are alive who were part of the war. So it's not even 2 or 3 generations from the elves, where it's 20 for the humans.
So Martin, it says here, when transformed, your stats are replaced by the creature except you retain your hit points, personality, the ability to speak and understand any language I know, and my intelligence. So
Which
that
means
would include
you can
talking to Zal. And,
yes, but that wouldn't be mental talking. That would be verbally talking.
well, I just won't do it in front of the humans.
I'm sure you can just turn yourself into a donkey and be the talking donkey of the group,
Sure, I might even have Donkey on here.
and just keep referring to Chauvel as Shrek.
Or I could just turn into a giant octopus, and horse can wear me as a hat. No? Alright, I'm going to go for something less obvious. Am I too big as a hawk to sit on, say, Zal's shoulder?
No,
Okay.
not unless you turn into a large hawk.
No, I think I'll just do a straight, normal hawk. Pray that I don't regret it, and if Zal's happy for that, I will sit on her shoulder.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the group of you have had a day talking with Rory's character, who, can you please pronounce the name of your character again?
Vilios.
Avilios.
And
So-
how do we spell that for people who are writing it down?
V-I-V-E
V-I-V-E
L-L-I-O-S.
L-L-I-O-S.
So
Vilios.
Is Vilios or Vilios?
Vilios. V-I-V-E-L-L-I-O-U-S.
Which is different from what I got sent,
Yep.
which was I-V-I-L-L-I-O-S.
Did I repeat that incorrectly?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, you heard that incorrectly.
My apologies.
Yeah, DMU's got the correct spelling.
Yep, I-V.
So it is Ivilios.
Ignore me.
Well, that's right. It kind of broke up.
It could be a silent I and a silent V and a silent I and be Lilios.
You're just being mean to me now.
We'll probably just nickname you Illy, though. Much
Fair enough.
Ivilios. I can do Ivilios.
Evil.
So a quick question for our high elf friend here is most of the elves of your type are fire aspected, having been closely aligned to magic. Does your elf follow with the others and is just one of the other fire elves, or does your character follow a different element such as water, earth, air, or darkness?
I mean, if you're fire, you get a paladin.
So my character would probably is following the element of air.
Okay, so you will have something in your features that will distinguish you as being particularly air-aligned, either shock white hair, pale skin, your veins show up as white on darker skin, maybe even eyes that have nothing but the iris.
Some of those sound pretty cool. What about all of the above?
Technically, he could have all of the above. It's the as by being air aspected, you do have the element of air, and you'll find that you will do more with lightning and thunder than other people will. But you'll take more from poison and from acid.
Right. Yeah, I guess the features to my element alignment would probably be the white hair and the irises one. I guess those would be my telltale signs.
Okay, so you've managed to meet up with these guys where you have been hired by Merchant Prince Redrian to look into a demon influencing one of the town magistrates. Yep. And he got you to catch up with the others as they're all passing through. So you are up to the 3rd day of the 5th month of the year.
Right. Right, so my brain is just refusing to brain right now.
That's okay. Happens to all of our brains too.
So, yeah, I just can't think of anything how I would handle it, so...
Oh, good. It happened 2 days back in the story, so you've had 2 days of travelling with them to get to know them, and not be too freaked out by a something that is called a horse that has an illusion of a horse over it, but doesn't act like a horse. But pulls a cart.
That's Drazzle's companion.
Right. Right.
Have you given Rory a rundown of who Drazzle is?
Just in the sense of Drazzle is a dragonborn cleric who is someone who manipulates time in the party's favour. He is a chronicler of their events and has provided some assistance, but usually leaves them to their own devices and tells them when they've died a few times doing the same task.
Oh, I think we've only been saved once.
Once that he's reminded you of. Well, he did say that you can't remember the times you didn't actually die. Well, the ones you did die, but you can remember the ones where you didn't die, and there's only been once where you didn't die.
And that's the one where we will remember him turning back time?
That's the one you remember him turning back time.
That's when we were up in the tower and Cheval's father had been murdered by Karoi, who took Cheval's father's features and
swap features.
Yeah, and then we were about to be overcome by a bunch of dwarves, and then Thala changed into a hawk, flew out the window, bumped into Drazzle, who happened to be in the right place at the right time, said we needed help, and then Drazzle did a really, really cool back pacing of things.
He did give you back 13 days.
13 days, yeah.
Or 2 weeks.
So it's amazing how many things can go wrong in 13 days.
Yes.
Lots.
Which is why I'm happy that we're currently undertaking a Redrian mission, because it's probably the right track instead of going down the wrong track yet again. I'm pretty sure Drazzle would prefer not to have to turn back time more often than necessary, which I think equals he'd rather never do it.
Well, there are dangers involved.
Yes. Vilius has been travelling with us for 2 days so far.
For 2 days so far.
Yes. Okay.
And you have arrived and rested in the town of Nemiston, having rested at a local inn.
And there's a magistrate that we need to investigate.
Yes, you're asked to check in on the local magistrate.
Who would like to lead the way?
Not me.
I'm a hawk, guys.
Paladin!
The paladin? This sounds
Paladin!
like... This sounds...
Lawful one, let's do it! What could possibly go wrong?
everything, which is what's so fun about it, right?
Yes.
Isn't the question of how much it can go wrong, not what can go wrong?
I was about to say, have you seen how parties
I
go?
was going to say, this would be a cool movement.
Or the Pathfinder party, or the Shadowrun party, or...
Any of the characters we play.
Yeah, any other character we play. We're here for lawful stupid.
That's technically not a choice, but I feel it should be.
Well, that is what people
lawful
normally...
stupid is fun.
That's what people normally refer to as lawful good, lawful stupid.
Oh, I don't think that's entirely fair.
That's why people dislike paladins, because they believe paladins can't be played.
Cheval does a pretty good job.
But I also don't restrict him and punish him for the slightest deviation.
Alrighty. To the town hall.
You have no trouble finding the town hall. It is in the center of town, and it has the sign Town Hall on the front of it. Which, if it was on the side of the haberdashery, would make things a little bit more confusing. But no, it actually is the town hall.
I almost wish, but then at the same time I know the trouble we'll get into.
Well, you wish it was the haberdashery?
No, we're all good. I just have this image of this magistrate who's won, this elected position of magistrate, but runs it out of their own shop. And they're like, oh, if you want to see me on magistrate's business, you have to buy something first.
I can work that in.
No, that wasn't a suggestion. It's just what came to me when you said haberdashery.
I like the idea.
I'm sorry. If he does that, I'm really sorry.
Hey, that doesn't mean I do it on this one. It means that I can think of it for another one in the future and remember.
There's at least 2 games I don't play. Hopefully it's one of those.
Yeah, it's totally going to be us next week.
I can do it for Star Wars.
Yeah, Pathfinder. No, Pathfinder. Pathfinder.
So yes, you find the town hall. It does have a sign hanging up there in Elven.
What does town hate? Or just like elves?
They have a sign up there in Elven,
Yes.
even though they don't like the elves?
They do. Do you read the sign?
Yes.
Elves not welcome.
Oh, okay. I'm a hawk right now.
Interesting that one going.
I murmur that to Zal.
Like I said, that and it seems to be this sign is hanging up in nearly every shop along the way.
I'm pretty sure I can read Elvish. I'm pretty sure I can speak it.
I've only got my languages written down. Sometimes it'd be handy to have everybody else's, but...
Oh yeah, Cheval can read it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone's character told me. At some point. Because I have a list as well. Actually, I think it was, the dragon helpers. She knew Elvish. And then I told her the Celestial Rocket in exchange.
I believe that is true. So yes, you're discussing the Owl's Not Welcome sign.
While talking to Joels. While speaking Elvish, probably. Hey, you're really obvious.
Hey, you do what you can.
We're hoping.
Though you are talking to a hawk and an elf.
Rory said
Oh, sorry. People think I'm crazy.
Yep.
Elvish, Ethengarian person who's speaking to family.
A tall cloaked Ethengarian amongst you. I'm sure he's slightly hunched.
He's just old. Oh.
You do have an 8-foot tall dragonborn with you as well.
I mean... Can
Yeah, but at least sounds like the Dragonborn is welcome, not elves.
Most people are afraid of the dragonborn because very few have actually seen one in person.
Right.
So that's why they don't have a unwelcomeness to dragonborn, because dragonborn have only been around for about 10 years.
I'm sure by like tomorrow there'll be an amendment to the signs.
All welcome, as long as you bring money.
Next sign says, please no fireballs.
I pat Shovel on the shoulder. It's okay.
Don't worry, it won't be fireball. Might be meteors though.
No, it's just spirit ball.
No, meteors. I think I read that down somewhere here. I didn't learn meteor, but there was one that Martin said last session that really sparked my interest, and then when I looked it up, it went,
It's basically meteor.
it's not so much that it's, I need to find it. It's definitely somewhere around here.
I was speaking of that, it didn't get to set some time down with you, that actually did bring her.
Are we going into the hall?
Well, no, they're currently discussing things outside, such as spells and language.
Yeah, okay. Back on the story. Now, did you have a contact with me to see you? Or we're just...
Well, you're told that the magistrate is influenced by a demon.
Well, I guess we go in for themselves.
Okay, stepping inside, you see that there is a couple of guardsmen with spears and chainmail armor beside a desk of what looks to be a mid-30s human with glasses and a pile of books and scrolls around him. He looks up and says, so what crime are you here today for?
Crime? No crime. We're just...
Are you about to commit a crime then?
No.
Have you committed a crime previously?
Unless standing here is committing a crime. I don't know.
He looks you up and down and says, so where do you hail from? You speak strangely.
I'm from Ethengar.
Is that really a place? He starts looking through books and going, I don't have it on any of my maps.
Well, it's the, and I kind of pointed to the general Sierra.
Just quickly, before I look through all my spells, can I cast spells as a hawk?
As long as they require vocal only, because you won't be able to get to your material
So that's
components
the-
or do the
Yep.
somatic gestures.
Just wondering whether or not there's a charm or something I can cast, but I'll have a look, see what I've got.
Okay, so
Most things require voice and semantics.
Yeah, but at least I know what I'm looking for.
Voice and signs.
Sign language.
Sign language.
I'm pretty sure I only had one.
I found one with just a V, healing word.
I don't know.
Hey, listen, a whisper in the ear and a slap on the ass, that could be charm.
I'd like to see Chauvel try that.
Like,
We'll probably end up in jail.
be a friendly bird.
Nuzzle, nuzzle.
or it could be a little Chauvel popping up somewhere. Okay, so he does squint in your direction and saying, "So, what's your business with the magistrate today?"
We have just come to say hello and introduce ourselves.
He says, "Social times after business hours. Come back later."
Okay, noted. And I'll walk out the door.
Paladin walks in.
He squints at the paladin, and then you can see sort of tears running down his eyes.
Yep.
Would you like me to do the voice effects, Josh? How many A's are in that?
20.
20.
Oh, 20. Oh, sorry. It's 10 for each A.
Yeah, it's 10 for each A on the side of the house.
He looks at you and goes, "I don't like you very much. Please go."
Not until you see the magistrate.
Go later. Is your magistrate in?
What crime have you committed?
No crime.
What crime are you here for?
No crime.
Why do you wish to see the magistrate for?
I'm here but to spectate his judgment.
No spectators. Come back later.
I'm gonna wander past.
I was going to say, just keep looking at him until he lets you in.
One of the guards puts their spear in front of you.
I have travelled a very long way to see how things are done here. I would not.
Spectators are not welcome.
You're not a mere spectator, though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure your tears say otherwise, sir.
Just because you are painful to look at doesn't mean I should let you in without following due process. And as you're not a criminal or here to represent a criminal, I am asking you to leave nicely before I throw you out, sir.
Yeah, we can creep through the windows, can't we? Sorry.
Chauvel walks down to the streets.
Okay. So looking...
Finds hopefully a man or woman doing it tough on the streets.
Yep.
Picks them up, takes them in. This is a criminal. I need to represent them. Let me in.
What crime have they committed?
Loitering.
Here's the paperwork. Fill it out, please.
I will fill out the paperwork.
Takes you about half an hour to go through all the paperwork.
Yeah, that's fine.
After you fill it out and hand it back to him, he says, "My next available spot is in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you then."
Noted.
We
Alright.
may need to wait for the magistrate to go
I will-
home.
Yeah, I will write down the court date in my book.
Could one of the people who can speak maybe find out if we can only see him socially, where that might be?
I'm gonna presume this town only has one pub.
No, Martin said it's got a few,
It's got a few inns and pubs.
because it's a pretty big stop.
Zal will pop his head back in and just be like, "So I had a dinner date. Where am I meeting you?"
Not him, the magistrate.
No, Well, yeah.
You don't meet the guard.
Well, actually, the bureaucrat's standing between the two guards. Well, sitting between the two guards. He looks you up and down and says, "Well, if you'd like to go out for dinner with me, I know this great inn." You're paying, aren't you?
Sure. I mean, I invited you, so.
Please make sure he brings the magistrate.
Yeah,
Please bring your +1.
please bring your +1.
You need to be careful here because his +1 could be his pet dog or cat.
Please bring your +1 of the magistrate. To make it exceedingly clear.
But I thought it was a date.
+1 magistrate, please.
So I'm going to get you to give me a negotiation roll to see how well you can convince him that. Let's see, which skill is that one? That one is the persuasion skill. A persuasion skill roll.
How close are you to the paladin?
Well, if you're inside and I'm at the door. 30 feet?
10 foot.
I don't know, that'll be up.
Would we be within 10 foot?
I'm happy to say you're within 10 feet.
Cool, you get +3.
Okay, +3. So it's
Actually, just give me a second. Let me just
it's
clarify.
open pack.
No, you don't. Sorry.
In that case,
It's only the saving throws.
I hope you got a resounding 15.
You got a resounding 15.
Yep. It's better than nothing.
He says he'll meet you there tonight.
Meet me where?
At the inn, he says.
Which inn?
The Stoneheart Inn.
Alright, thank you. Is he there?
Okay, thank you. Go on, you buy.
In.
Yeah. That sounds more like Parry though.
What?
Okay, thanks.
Yes, send ship by. Is that what I'm saying?
No.
Well, hey, it was Zal who was doing the pickup line this time instead of Cheval.
Exactly. Hey, Cheval was in no kind of pickup line mood. Cheval does a thing to you. She's here for business.
Zal's picking up the one.
Okay, so you seem to have about 6 hours up your sleeve. What would you like to do for 6 hours in a town where most elves are hated?
Before we do all of that, while we're just outside the hall having made this, I would like to... Smallest creature I can turn into is a cat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to transform into a cat, and then I want to see if I can get into the building unseen and locate the magistrate.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell the guys that I plan to do this, and if there's a cafe nearby, ask if they're aware at the cafe, and I'll say whether or not I can find the magistrate and gain some information about, well, anything. Where he is, what he's doing, what he looks like. If I can detect this Rakshasa in the vicinity, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do that?
You can.
Yep. So if I'm changed into a cat, do I need to roll to see if I can get into the building?
You'll have to make a stealth check.
A stealth check? Yep. So 12 plus... why did I put my papers over here? Skills. Nature. Why have I got all of these skills but not stealth as one of them?
Does my cat get any extra stealth?
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
Which means you get to add your dexterity.
Oh, it does say stealth +4.
In which case, then you get +4 in your stealth.
So does that mean it's a 16?
Plus your dexterity.
And 1 equals 17.
Okay. So you sneak yourself up some stairs, in past a bunch of cells, and into a smallish room with a couple of tables and a raised area with a guy wearing what appears to be a fake wig.
Okay.
There are people sitting at each of the tables in front of him, and they seem to be talking about a theft, and how the person there is responsible for the stealing and selling of illegal items, and is also going into previous crimes they have committed over the last 20 years
Wow.
and not being caught for.
And does there seem to be fairly good evidence for this?
Well, the prosecutor is presenting all the stuff.
Okay, yep. So, the guy in the wig, he looks like he's the magistrate. I don't know for certain, obviously, that this is a magistrate. If I wanted to, say, do so I know some of my abilities allow me to get insight and perception. Would I roll
You can make an insight roll and see what
insight
you
roll
can
to
see.
see if I can determine that this is indeed the magistrate that I'm looking at? So that'll be 13, and insight is one of my skills. Where did it go? It was here 2 seconds ago.
Insight is based on wisdom.
Yeah, so that's +5, so that's an 18.
What cultures will also tell you similar stuff.
Which would probably be the same, because so the skills come halfway down there. It doesn't actually give me a number, it just tells me to look up wisdom, which is +4/+5.
Sorry, just...
So I'm guessing it's an 18 regardless of culture or insight.
No, you get to add 4 if they're on that list as well. So
Or on this one.
if it's on the skills list here called
Yep.
proficient, you get to add your proficiency bonus as well as your attribute.
I see.
If they're expertise, you get to add twice your proficiency bonus.
I see. In that case, it makes it 22.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All good.
Yeah, I'm still figuring it out.
So looking at it, you can see that the person with the funny wig on is the magistrate, as they seem to have some sort of official wig. Most of the time it's magical. Generally can detect lying or misleading or other
So
sort
the
of...
wig allows him to determine
Well, it's assumed so, because why else would you wear a wig in
a magic wig.
in a magic setting?
Yeah.
You would expect them to have some form of magic to determine what's going on. The defendant seems to be surprised at all the crimes that have been attributed to them.
Okay. Can I do another insight as to whether or not the defendant is guilty? Or is that something I'd need more?
Defendant hasn't said anything.
Okay, so no.
So I
Oh,
was
no,
trying.
that's- I meant spell. That's okay. I need to look at the spells.
Okay. I was just trying to finish the description.
Please.
Okay. So the what it looks to be is you've got the defendant surprised at all these crimes being attributed to them. The prosecution is reading from a list of stuff that they have. So either they've done some research or they've used some form of magical divination,
Okay.
which in a magic setting is not unheard of.
Okay. But the defendant does look surprised at this long list of things that they've done.
Yep. And the judge asks, does the defendant plead? How does the defendant plead to these charges? Defendant tries to say something and stutters a lot until it comes out with guilty.
I see. Thala is starting to think that perhaps this Rakshasa is not only providing the long list of things that have gone wrong, but is forcing the defendant to plead guilty, even though they are innocent.
Give me an Arcana.
I was going to say, pretty sure I have to do a roll for that, so that's a little bit plus. Arcana is in my thing, and I am proficient at it, which means that is 11 plus 19. I think I got it out right.
So you think it could quite easily be a zone of truth which prevents people of weak will from lying.
I see. Yep.
So they can't utter a falsehood.
Okay, so it's not against their will. In the
It could
sense
be
that
against their will.
They
but
don't. Yeah.
They don't appear to be showing any forms of enchantment,
Yep. Okay.
which an insight roll would tell you if you from observing them.
Okay. Does that mean I need to roll another insight?
No, I said your insight
Oh,
roll.
that's the insight roll.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yep. Okay.
So instead of having the party split for a long period of time,
Yep.
I will say you spend about an hour observing multiple cases where the same thing happens again and again.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem to be any locals are being prosecuted.
I see. Okay. This sounds. Like something is definitely up here. I do have some spells that I kind of want to cast, but I'm not going to, because I suspect that that would be too early, and I would end up in a lot of trouble.
You
So
could end
I'm
up
gonna-
committing a crime by
Pardon?
you could end up committing a crime by interrupting the proceedings.
Well, either way, I am going to sneak back out to my party and give them a report on what I've seen and heard.
So you catch up to them at a small cafe nearby.
Yep. So, has anyone bought me a coffee? Is nobody there?
Yeah, I guess I'll say Julius is doing something.
Specifically asked to get a coffee?
Well, no, but Thala's hoping after all these years and knowing her so well, someone might have. Well, she was
I've
off.
really known you for like a... Oh no, actually, no, it has been a couple of years because we did do a whole bunch of levels. Question mark.
Yeah, we have done. Technically, yeah, we've known each other since I think level 6 or 5.
We've gone through 4 Rocky montages now.
4 rocket montages. I like it.
Well, actually no. You know Calcrix and I know Calcrix iced coffee, so yes, I would have bought you coffee.
I thank you kindly.
It has the dragon mark on the side of it.
Oh, this is Calcrix's coffee. Look, Calcrix has a branch here. I have to send a letter later.
Well, they've been selling her coffee here.
Well, that means they might be able to. There might be a gnome here that can pass on a letter. All right. So I managed to get into the big court place, and I found the courtroom, and I found what seemed to be a personage who was seen over everything. He had a wig. It seemed like it might be a magic wig that allowed him to see through deception, maybe, I don't know, without casting spells. I wasn't willing to do them there. And then there was the prosecution, who are reading off a really long list of crimes, like 20 or so years worth of crimes. Did I happen to note whether or not the first defendant looked old enough to have committed 20 years worth of crimes?
Did look like they were old enough to have committed those crimes.
But what I noted was that the defendant looked well and truly genuinely surprised by this list of crimes. The really unsettling part was that at the end, they ended up pleading guilty but I was not necessarily sure that they actually were guilty. I've also, while I was watching them over that period of time, I saw a number of cases. It was pretty much the same thing every time without deviation, which kind of has me worried because it strikes me as more of a ritualistic thing rather than an actual trial or proceedings, which would have some variation in them at least. But every single person who was brought up had a very long list of crimes put against them, and then they pleaded guilty, and it seemed like while they may not be coerced into it, they may not have genuinely been guilty of those crimes. My other worry here is that all of these people aren't members of the township. They're all travellers. So not one of these people are locals. And when you look at the crimes being committed, I'm just not sure that travellers would commit 20 years long worth of crimes in one area and then only be pulled up after that period has been gone past. You know, how is it that over this 20 years that this traveller through this area hasn't been caught for the whole time, and then suddenly in one day we see several of them who have been caught and who are being tried. I think something kinky is going on in Scooby Town.
Just to quick clarification, you said they were travellers. Did they happen to be of elven descent, do you think?
Were they?
No, they're mainly human.
They were mainly human.
Well,
What
that
do we
goes
know?
that theory.
What do we know about Rakshasas, though? I know that they're demons. Do I have any historical
Give me a knowledge religion.
religion? I get special things with knowledge religion, so I'm just going to quickly look at those. That's that one. Here it is. So I have... No, that's detect faith. That's no good. Religious education. And scholar of old ways, maybe. I think those ones would have already been worked into my...
I don't know.
Okay, I will. So I'm going to put a great big X there so it's easier for you to find. Just have a quick check of that.
When it does happen to make a religion roll as well, I'm pretty good at that.
To be honest, I don't think it would hurt for anyone who can make a religion roll to make one, because the more information we pull together, the better off we're going to be.
So you can use wisdom instead of intelligence for arcana.
Yep.
And you get to roll twice and take the rest of the 2 rolls.
Okay, so that was a 17.
That
was a 9. I will be taking 17, please.
So what did M say?
24 total.
So you've got your 17
17 plus. Did you say wisdom?
plus wisdom plus proficiency.
So
That'd be plus 9. So that'd be 26.
6. Thank you.
And so what you know about Rakshasas are that they are fiends escaped from hell. They have the heads of animals on humanoid bodies. They are always marked with some other abnormality. They possess a variety of magical abilities which they use to hide their true forms and mislead their victims. They shrug off non-magical weapons and all but the most powerful spells. Strangely, they have no such resistance to arrows and crossbow bolts.
Wow, okay. Does it say anything there about their capacity to influence people?
It
and
does
why
not.
They want to influence people?
Well, coming from hell, that means there's some form of devil.
Okay, yeah. Generally, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, and if I don't know from this role, that's fine.
Most devils make bargains and
Okay.
provide assistance for bargains.
If you're saying that all of these cases went along the same lines, the bargain might be that the magistrate, in predation, finds these people doing
So finds the...
lots of crimes to get souls or whatever the demon is.
So what are the sentences for these crimes?
The sentences weren't handed out during it.
Okay.
And basically the sentences were passed on to the High Court to answer for because the amount of crimes the person had been held guilty for.
So your theory, Zal, is that as a part of the bargain, the Rakshasa gets something out of the people who are declared guilty?
I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Makes sense.
What the payoff is. Is it a bit of a soul? Is the misery energizing for them?
It could be the fact that they're, actually innocent, and therefore it's an innocent soul that's getting taken by this demon, rather than someone who's actually guilty or something.
I will give the people who weren't in the courtroom a perception check to see if they picked up any information while Thala was catting about.
Yeah.
I rolled a 7.
You rolled a 7, so looks like Ilvius didn't notice much of importance.
Sorry, Martin, what was the skill check again?
Perception.
19 for Cheval.
19 for Cheval. And how did Zal go?
14.
Okay, so looks like you got as well as Drazzle did on the dice. So, with your 7, this place is just weird. Humans are weird. The chairs are too small. The table too low. Too much meat in the drinks.
Too much meat
Yeah,
in the drinks.
yeah. They have a flavour of meat.
And filthy
Can I
humans, they don't know how to make
roll a
good stuff.
perception check on the town, just in general?
Well, it seems to be beef stock.
What does my coffee taste like?
Your coffee tastes... Well, when you get coffee, the coffee tastes fine.
Alright. And is it Drazzle that says...
And I am talking about what they discovered while you were in
Yeah.
the...
I just... Do they say any of this in our general discussion?
I'm trying to finish off the description.
Okay, cool.
Please give me a chance.
I was role playing.
All good. Sorry, just trying to remember what I was about to say.
Meat in the drinks.
So yes, the drinks do have a meaty taste when not coffee. So the meads and all that seem to have some sort of beef stock or chicken stock in it.
Is it beef or chicken stock though? Or human stock?
Could be human stock. It could be Silent Green, which wouldn't be cannibalism for an elf.
I think is Zal the only human here right now?
Technically, Zal is the only human there.
Yep.
Though Cheval does look human-ish. He's not technically human because he's a Genasi.
Yes.
Except for, the flaming red hair, the slightly more body,
The migraine-inducing paladin.
angry.
And so what Zal and Cheval both pick up is that a lot of the town seems to be crime-free. There's no littering, there's no graffiti, doesn't even seem to be anyone stealing from people.
Pickpocketing.
So what you think of a pickpocket here appears to be people taking what others have dropped back to them and saying, look, you dropped this. And it just seems really odd that the area here doesn't seem to have any criminal elements visible.
Did any of you guys communicate that to... I've forgotten what my name is. Thala?
Thala. And Drazzle does also tell you while you're waiting for Thala to join you, because he did also have a role.
Yeah.
that as far as he can tell, there's some sort of magical scrying over town.
Over the whole town.
Over town. He doesn't give you all the details. He just says magical scrying over town.
This sounds
Useful.
bad. Zal, can I taste your drink?
My very disgusting tasting tea.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
What does it taste like? Broth or
Well-
meat?
It does have the as if they've reused the broth from the cooking of meat to make a lot of their drinks
So it
with.
doesn't taste distinctly, necessarily non-animal.
It does taste animal-ish.
Okay.
It's similar to what the Ethengarians use in their drinks because it does provide nutrients through other drinks.
Oh, okay. So it's not necessarily unheard of. It's not that
not unheard of.
strange.
It's just something the elves don't do.
Okay. Okay.
Not a lot of elves eat meat.
Thala writes this all in her journal and is really weirded out.
And it's normally done by the roaming cultures instead of the inns and taverns.
I will go and order another coffee and ask the barista, tavern keep, whoever is. Are there any temples here?
Oh no temples here. We leave them. People go on a journey to the city of Selenica nearby to visit temples.
Oh, I see. So there are no places of religious significance here for people who might.
Well, she shrugs and says, "There's a lot of people who come in and pray to the gods of drink for better drink."
I can. The coffee is exceptional. Is all I can say.
Well, we make sure we separate the water we use for the coffee from the water from the stuff that gets mixed in with the other drinks.
I have to say, I very much appreciate that. Is there a local coffee gnome representative in this township?
He drops by about once a week from Selenica.
Okay. And do you know when he'll be by next?
He's due in. Let me get a dice and say.
Just wondering if we might get a source of knowledge.
He's
from
due in 6 days.
Ah, darn. Could have been a 1. It could have worked out. Oh well. Unless oh no, that's Calquix that gets the Luck of Chaos, I think. She can oh no, it's only any D20 as well, so that wouldn't work there. Really need to see if I can get my rerolls reinstated.
There are
chapter?
3 there.
There's 3 rerolls. I won't use up one of our rerolls just in case our gnome's got some extra information. Unless Martin's somewhat inspired. Right. I thank her.
She does say that you should be aware that any crimes committed in the presence of the town generally get noted and reported to the magistrate's prosecution, who then will arrest you for any crimes you may have committed in the past.
I would have to say I'm grateful for that knowledge.
Well, she doesn't particularly hate elves like most of the others.
I'm grateful for this too.
And she thought fair warning because being an elf is not a crime, though they're trying to make it a crime on town law.
This is indeed very useful information. I make sure I give her. I don't want to tip her over generously, but I will give her a very decent tip. More than what would normally happen, but not excessive.
A gold piece is a generous tip.
Yeah, I'll give her a gold piece and thank her rather sincerely. I will return to the table and go, we need to leave because we're going to die. They're going to kill us sometime soon. They're going to blame us for crimes we haven't done, and then everything we've ever done in all of our lives, they're going to try us for that too. And okay, I'm going to stop panicking now and tell you there's definitely something hinky going on in Scoobyville. Guys, Aren't any of you panicking along with me?
No, I'm sure the fact that some of them have attacked the avatar of a god in their temple is not considered much of a crime.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of them. That's what we can do.
I'm sure that doesn't fit anywhere up in the realms of religious treason.
No.
So we've got a meeting with the magistrate later.
No, Zal has a meeting with the official for a date.
I go back to the bar. You don't happen to know where the magistrate either spends his evenings for dinner or lives?
Oh, he's got the big mansion on the side of town, away from the elves.
Again, you're awesome. Thank you very much.
Just be careful in the middle of the night because, hey, the elves like to play pranks on that place a lot.
I will be careful not to be there in the middle of the night. I will try to get there before moon height.
Well, the sun's still up is a lot better.
The official at the front seemed to give us indication that we could not see the magistrate unless it was outside of working hours. When does the courts, when do they generally finish up?
Well, being an official sort of person, he only seems to run from about mid-morning to mid-afternoon.
Oh, okay, this is good news.
And if you don't book in advance, you have to wait.
So you have to book in to see him socially?
To see him officially.
Okay. And where would you do that? At the courthouse?
At the courthouse, but he generally only likes to trial crimes, and he's got a record for being the most crimes that have proven to be true and indisputable by other lawyers.
I see.
He's had quite a few try to disprove his claims over the years.
I see.
That's why no one here wants to steal anything because, hey, doesn't matter what crime it is, he's bound to notice.
I see. So it's not necessarily that these people who are being tried are not guilty, it's just that they commit one crime here and magically somehow anything they've ever done that could be perceived as a crime is thusly named and therefore they're tried for it.
Or they've committed some sort of major crime in the past and have stayed here overnight, made a nuisance of themselves, and then woken up arrested in the morning.
Mental note, spend all my evenings with horse and do not sleep. I'll go back to the table and relay all of this information and ask them what they want to do. Nothing?
Apparently they're busy eating.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
In real life as well as in the game.
Yes. So what's funny and very interesting about this, like, all goody two-shoes town?
Well, you don't think it's a goody two-shoes town, you think it's an enforced crime-free town. So if they commit crimes, they're bound to be then held up for any crime they've committed in the past.
It's a town that lives under fear.
Yeah. But also they live under the fact that crimes don't get committed here. You can literally leave your door open or your gold on the windowsill and no one will touch it.
Hmm.
Just doing bathroom. Do you want half a pie after I finish?
So yes, it's now up to the three of you online. How would you like to discuss this?
I'm not entirely sure how to go about it.
I mean, detect magic would probably do shit all.
Well, the detect magic, unlike Pathfinder, will give you some details about the magic involved.
You probably shouldn't have worn up quietly and do that for like 10 minutes.
Okay, you cast your... unfortunately, even as a ritual, casting a spell is not a quiet thing unless you have the ability to silently cast it or non-visibly cast it. Do you wish to cast a spell in town?
Maybe when we go to bed. So maybe 10.
Well, you could cast it in private. But you do have your dinner date coming up.
That is true. I mean, surely detecting magic is not a crime.
Spellcasting is a crime in some places.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Huh. Would I know if that would be a crime here or not?
Among the Ethengarians, your arcane spellcasting is a crime.
Well, that's not Ethengar, though.
And there's other places around the world that will persecute you based on the types of magic you use, ranging from spellcasting without a license to spellcasting itself.
Would I know what the rules are in this particular region?
Sure, you can make a culture check, which, if you don't have it as a skill, is a wisdom at this stage.
Culture. No, I don't think I have culture. So 17.
17. With your wisdom bonus?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that, you do know that a lot of the common folk are wary of spellcasters and spellcasting. So doing it in public may be considered a crime in some towns, depending on how harsh their laws are against it, and whether or not someone was harmed or not.
Right.
So you might get anything ranging from a fine to a jail sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Dorican itself has not been particularly harsh on spellcasters unless it involves enchantment or damage to property or goods.
Yep. In that case, I might wait to detect magic before I go to sleep for the day.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I will simply watch the people go about their business in town, and sort of see and observe them being good.
Okay, so things you do notice observing town without needing to roll is no one drinks excessively. Very few people are saying anything inappropriate or lewd or suggestive. It is one of the strangest towns you've ever been in, where everyone's nice and polite all the time and goes out of their way to help people. And considering this town has a reputation of being one of the rudest towns in the nation, this is a really weird turn of events.
Yeah. It sounds like an improvement.
So they're just not friendly, but they are helpful.
I mean, improvement, right?
And you do feel that this is because of a fear of getting caught, breaking the laws, or being seen as some way harming the town. Well, you don't want to be the person who's seen to be causing trouble.
Yeah.
You've heard about what happens to those. They find out any crimes they've committed and then persecute them for every crime they've done in their past.
Which doesn't bode particularly well for Zal, because he knows some of the things he's done in the past. Not the best.
So does Cheval.
Cheval has got the crime of killing 2 innocent people. Innocent of the crime he beheaded them for.
Are people being accused of crime?
No, but they're worried about the crimes they've committed in the past.
I see.
Which, strangely enough, brings it to the front of their thoughts and makes it susceptible to scrying. So, Zal and Chauvel get to both make wisdom saving throws
But hey, what's yours?
as they're trying not to remember the crimes they've committed.
You get +3 as well, by the way.
So Zal's was killing 2 innocent people. Not Zal's.
That's actually a saving throw.
That was M's character's parents. Besides the attacking the avatar of the Queen of Darkness without being provoked.
26 for Chauvel.
And how about Zal?
I am just trying to calculate up. Wisdom +3.
You should hopefully be proficient being a cleric.
I am proficient in wisdom saving throws. I got a 22.
Okay, so both of you feel as if you have managed to fight off any form of mental invasion. Could be worse. You could have guards showing up at the inn right now and arresting you for your bad thoughts.
I want to know what Vivilius has done.
So, has Vivilius committed any crimes?
Oh, you're not letting him pick.
Besides minor theft in his youth, not really, no.
So, what crimes did he commit in his youth?
Just minor thefts, pickpocketing, and stuff like that.
So, give me a will saving throw. A7. So, in the middle of you guys having dinner there, as you're all contemplating what crimes you think you might be called up upon, you see that 2 town guards show up.
I can't be surprised. So, before, hopefully, I'll roll if I need to, I grab Vivilius as I get whiffed of the town guard showing up. Or the town guard showing up, and I drag him over to the counter, depending on whether or not he's resisting, and I ask the cafe lady for the back way out.
And the village just goes along with this.
Well, she says it's out the back.
Well,
pointing to an open door.
Okay, we go out that open door.
Pointing 2 steps back out.
Well, I didn't know if it was obvious or not. I also explained to Vivilius as I'm dragging him along, I suspect that town guard that's just about to walk in is going to pick you up for a crime. What have you done?
I've just done some minor pickpocketing in my past. That's it.
I have a feeling these guys don't think of that as minor. What capacity do you have? Can you change into other animals? Can you disguise yourself? I have a feeling disguising yourself is probably not going to help a whole lot, but maybe changing into an animal might.
Unfortunately, I can't. I can only disguise myself.
I gather we've stabled all our mounts somewhere.
You have.
I suggest then that we go back to the stables and leave you with Horse, who should protect you, and then I will grab the others and tell them where we are, and we'll figure out what to do.
Alright, I'll go alone for now, until things die down.
Okay, so the 2 of you head off to the place you're staying. And as that's happening, the 2 guards are in the cafe asking for someone by the name of Vilius the Elf, wanted for crimes of theft. How does Chauvel and Zal deal with that?
Wait, what did the guard say? For crimes of theft?
Crimes of theft, yes.
What jurisdiction?
And also, what theft?
Well, the
Do either of you try to go, who's Vivilius?
Not yet.
under the jurisdiction of the town of Nemiston, the magistrate has put out a arrest order for the elf
Vivilius.
Sorry, I'm just trying to swallow.
Apologise.
And basically has asked us to detain him until he can be examined by the prosecution as to whether or not a case needs to proceed or not.
Probably could be a good way to meet the magistrate.
But, guard, you have me confused.
He's gone out the back door, one of them says.
No.
Again, I asked what theft.
No. You say this jurisdiction, but we, as far as we're aware, have not seen any crimes of theft in this jurisdiction.
Well, I arrest him from this we arrest people as of this jurisdiction. We just follow what we're being told to do. If you have a problem, take it up with the magistrate.
Where's the magistrate right now?
When this elf has been brought before the magistrate.
Where is the magistrate right now?
Where the magistrate normally is, in court.
In court.
Probably finished at actual day-to-day stuff and working on other cases.
Alright. Trevor's going to march out of the inn and march straight to the court.
Okay. And then one of the guards says to the other, he's moving through the back alleys.
I have a question for you before they go.
You go, yes.
More distraction. How do you know that he's going through back alleys presently?
We received a message from the official. From the town scryer.
But I didn't see a town scryer give you any information. It's just been you two standing here. How can you know the current location of something without being told?
Obviously, you've not dealt with magic. I recommend going to a school of some sort and taking some time to learn, and then you'll understand what magic does.
Sol kind of raises his eyebrows and doesn't say anything about it. Maybe a note for Rory. While Zal was a code wizard, he dresses still as a ranger. So to anyone who doesn't know him, he looks like a ranger, so he still carries a short and long bow. He has a golden arrow and I think 2 or 3 elven arrows of returning as well. Not to sort of all outward appearances, apart from maybe the cleric symbol that's also sort of on his belts, but it's not totally obvious while I'm sitting. He looks not like a clerical wizard or anyone magical.
Yep. So the two guards say, "Is there any more questions, or would you like to delay us any further?" He says.
No, go for it.
That's okay. He says to the other, he appears to be heading back to his inn to hide. We shall catch up with him there. As they both walk out the front.
Can we cut to stables?
You cut to the stables.
I say to Horse, I can't put our good friend Vivilius into your cart, obviously. But will you protect him while I go and get Drazzle and help?
Horse seems very happy to protect.
Okay.
Or eat.
Please don't eat. Give you cookie now and hug, and give you cookie and more hug later. As long as you don't eat Vivilius. please.
Looks at the elf and then sort of
Is
sighs.
horse washing my finger as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, pat, good horse. And give him a hug. I will then make my sprightly elfish way back towards the cafe and Drazen.
Okay.
Quick question, Mum.
Yep.
How far away is our stables or our rooms?
Well, the stables and rooms would probably be about 5-10 minutes walk at the most. So you could run there in about 2 or 3 rounds.
So it would be less than 120 feet.
Probably.
Did Fowler say she was taking in the horse?
She did not when she went out.
No, unfortunately I did not have time. I spotted guard, grabbed Vivilius, ran for back door.
Right.
Now, as a player, now that I hear everything, it might actually work for us to put Vivilius in front of the magistrate because it gets us in front of the magistrate. But I don't know any of that as a character, so I've just tried to put him somewhere safe for now, and I'm coming back to see if I can catch up with you guys, see what happens, because I also don't know about... Do I know about the scrying? Oh, I do know about the scrying. Shit, I forgot about the scrying. Can I, before I completely...
Where you went, I could have asked dancing lights within that radius to warn you guys. As sort of like...
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just going to ask Martin, can I have remembered that before I left the stable?
You could have. Yeah.
Figured that out and gone, shit, no, they're coming right here. And then... Oh... The question is what to do. I'll go back to Vivilius and I will say to him, I've just realised I have this scrying thing. That means that no matter where we go in this town, they're going to know where you are. So we've got a couple of options. We can get you out of town. Won't be hard. Or we could use you as a means to finally become face to face with this magistrate. What would you like to do?
I will decide to work as the bait and get arrested.
Then let us go turn in. I give Horsey's other cookie, because technically his contract has been fulfilled, give him another quick hug, and we'll head back.
He seems disappointed he can't murder someone.
That may happen yet.
You had a feeling he was looking forward to making someone disappear.
I can send a message of some sort. I think I can send an animal messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I have a feeling that killing someone raises our notoriety in the town by like 1,000-fold.
Animal messenger. Oh, here it is.
There have been warnings with stable hands and horse, as well as Chocobo and a few of the others.
I probably warned Chocobo that if he isn't on his best behaviour, and until horse as well.
I can use...
That if Chocobo isn't on his best behaviour, which Chocobo probably is if horse is here, but he gets an extra warning.
I was going to say horse is here, Chocobo is on his best behaviour. Animal messenger is one action.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean I can call like a bird to me and send it on ahead with a short message?
Yep.
I call a bird down to me, give it an image of Zal and Drazzle.
It's words.
And,
Sorry. I just imagine.
I imagine who it's going to, so it knows where it's sending its message.
Okay.
And I give it. Are you a mage, Vilius, or a sorcerer, or how would you describe your?
A non-failed ranger.
Oh, okay. So the ranger.
The elven ranger, not the human ranger.
Okay. The elven ranger is going to be bait, and we're on our way. Is that too long?
That should be okay.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
just go and tell.
Just to the elven bait.
Yeah. No. I want to communicate basically that our elven ranger has agreed to act as bait. Obviously, not in that many words. and that we're on our way to turn him in, meet us at the courthouse.
Okay. So, a bird flies into the inn and lands on the table right next to Zal. What does Zal do?
Please don't kill it.
Good.
Looks like a little sparrowy sort of bird.
Does it have like a note attached?
It does not.
Oh, is that... I can attach notes?
Oh my god. I can't speak with animals.
Okay, in the middle of you casting Speak with Animals, it starts to talk at you.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't you have a ring?
Well, Animal Messenger means that it repeats the word you gave it exactly as you gave it to the target, which means in the middle of her casting, him casting the spell, the bird delivers the message, steals some food and flies off.
I'm just reading through
I
this.
presume when the bird starts talking, I stop my casting.
Yeah, so Yep.
When the messenger arrives, it delivers your message to the creature that you described, replicating the sound of your voice.
Yes.
The messenger speaks only to a creature matching the description I gave. If the messenger doesn't reach its destination before the spell ends, the message is lost. Cast at higher levels, I can increase the spell duration, if that makes sense. So you will just suddenly hear it talking in my voice.
Yep. You'll have Thala talking at you from a bird, so it's either Thala as the bird, hard to tell because you've never seen Thala as a sparrow.
I presume the fact that the bird didn't land on me when, she's used my shoulder as a resting pad before. That's not quite the right word, but you get what I mean.
Yep. I'm sure you've still got scars from where Thala's done it.
Probably.
Don't you have, like...
There's not Thala, despite that detection.
So
yes, it delivers its message.
Yeah.
And then steals some of your food and flies off.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine, I was leaving anyway. And I was about to follow Chauvel to the magistrate, so that kind of works.
Hopefully you catch Chauvel up.
I probably won't.
You hear a scraping sound as Drazzle scrapes your food onto his plate and continues eating.
He doesn't want to come and draw all the pictures and write it all down?
Well, he's sure he can finish the food first.
Oh, fair enough.
He's not a very wasteful person.
I have similar feelings.
I know it's not good.
Okay, so yes, as you go to open the stable doors to go out, you find the two guardsmen standing there waiting for you.
I am Vivilius's representative. I'm now escorting him to the courthouse. I inform them. They turned up at the stable doors? Yeah. So, do they let me do that?
They gesture towards the centre of town.
Awesome.
And they're happy to just walk behind Vilius and poke him if he tries to go a different direction.
If they poke him too much, I'll poke them back.
Well, I said only if he goes in a different direction.
Oh, okay. Well, that's up to Vivilius.
Yeah, so...
At every opportunity.
So as long as you're walking towards the courthouse, you don't get poked at all.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that the Villas doesn't have a bad sense of direction.
Well, as long as you follow Thala, you should be fine.
Righto, so I just follow along.
Okay, as you walk along, you see in the distance in front of you Zal, Chauvel, and slowly walking up to them, Drazzle. They're standing out front of the courthouse.
And I just try and say to them, as I'm walking by, that I hope you guys have a good plan.
Drazzle says no. Plan's never good.
Better come up with something quick.
Always have plans, plans never good.
Then, but either way, I just continue moving on from there on in.
Okay, so you reach the courthouse itself, and You see the official that the others had described sitting behind the desk, filling out some forms. So you must be the elf that they've been telling me about, Ivilius or something like that, he says.
And I just respond with, hurry up and give me the false charges, you bastard.
Swearing in public, that is an actual crime in this town.
I think farting in public might be a crime in this town.
Have you not read our town charter? He says.
I have not had.
No, you're saying that to Villiers.
Oh, right.
No, I have not. I haven't even been here a day.
Well, ignorance of the law.
Live with all the rules.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, he says.
I put my hand up. Can I please get a copy of the town charter?
He hands you over a rather thick volume.
Okay, I start reading.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he says you have been accused of petty theft, and we will have a oracle examine you to see if you are worthy of our time in prosecution. Do you agree to this?
I guess that's...
No, he does not.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree to anything.
He does not agree to this. I'll make that note down then. So that means straight to the magistrate.
I come in close to Vivilius and I'm like, when you did do this pickpocketing, were you caught at that time and were you given some sort of punishment? Did you pay some kind of recompense?
Yes, I got caught and I got a few lashings.
So you've already paid for your crime?
That I have.
So how can they charge you if you've already been caught and paid for this crime? A question we shall put to the magistrate.
Well, question of corruption there, I guess.
Dizelle and Chevelle catch up?
They are there.
Okay, awesome. I pass on the information of what's just happened, and also the very important information that the Villiers here has just told me that he has already done penance for this crime, which Cheval probably would find outrageous that he's been charged again.
Don't get me started. Cheval is already like fuming.
Says, well, if he doesn't want to submit...
You guys are probably like power walking as I'm marching my way towards the court. I'm literally going to bust down some doors in a minute.
Okay, you're in the courthouse with the others now.
I tell Cheval to not flame up.
Oh, okay, cool. I waltz into where the magistrate's handing their sentences.
Well, you're currently in the still outer chamber. They haven't taken him before the magistrate yet. They're basically just seeing if he was willing to submit to an oracle before they locked him up. And he said no.
He doesn't even know his rights here and what they'll mean.
And that's where they were saying ignorance of the law doesn't excuse him.
Yeah, but
Ignorance of the law.
ignorance of your rights doesn't mean you can't have them either.
Well, they did say that if the oracle said he wasn't guilty, then he would not be charged with any crime.
Well, they haven't given us much time to think it over, have they?
Well, he'll get time in the cells until he agrees.
Is that what's going to happen? I thought he went straight to the magistrate.
Well, the next magistrate's availability is 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
We may have to recant and see the oracle. But, yeah.
Yes, well, you see 2 guards looking to handcuff your fellow elf, what do you do?
So we're still in the outer chamber.
You're still in the outer chamber.
Where's the actual courtroom
There seem to be some stairs in the back with a gate across it.
with a gate across it?
Yep, it's not a simple walkthrough. You have to get someone to unlock the gate. But the cat could squeeze between the bars.
Yeah. I mean,
So you're saying I could?
As a cat, you could squeeze between the bars, yes.
Unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to do us a lot of good.
So what does the party wish to do? Do they wish to start a combat here? Do they wish to have their elven friend incarcerated for a couple of weeks?
I really don't want to start combat, but I also don't want to wait like 2 weeks.
You can convince him to submit to an oracle.
I mean, will that expedite anything?
Well, they did say that if he is considered innocent of the crimes, basically they wanted to know if the crime was worth persecuting or not.
Well, I mean, we already know he's committed these crimes. He said so himself. And also subsequently been punished by the sales of it.
But was he punished for all the crimes?
I don't know. He just said he had been punished for at least some of them.
And this has got the scars on his back to prove that he was punished for at least some.
Then I don't know whether seeing the oracle would be, you know, if there's still crimes to persecute, then we'd still be waiting, what, 3 weeks to see the magistrate?
Depending on how bad the crimes are.
So if they're petty matters, is what they sound like.
Petty matters generally take a few weeks. Serious crimes can be seen on the day. Like desecration of a temple.
Yeah, I was about to say, I could be thinking about my crimes again, and probably have to do another wisdom saving throw. Because it sounds like, I've done way worse than this.
Does Zal actually say that?
Out loud, do you think so?
Nope, you're fine.
I'm fine? Okay.
Yes.
I love that there's a secret roll too.
Well, it's a secret roll because the camera stopped working.
Oh, well, that was clever.
So let's see if I fix that camera, because I've been rolling in that dice thing.
Oh, well.
It's all secret rolls today.
It is all secret rolls today.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. I'm guessing that's against, like, my passive.
Well, that's whether or not they're actually paying attention to you right now.
They're very much not. Fair enough.
So, he asks, are you willing to come quietly, or do we need to subdue you to our elven ranger?
I'll just say I'll come quietly for now.
I asked them, as his representative, what kind of access do I get to him? If I want to come and see him again before he has to see the magistrate, will I be allowed to do that?
You're allowed to see him during the day, they say.
Okay, can you give me some kind of time frame during the day so I know that I come at the right time of day?
As long as the sun's up, we're fine.
Okay, alright. I tell Vivilius, I think because we don't want to start a fight right here, right now, it might be best for you to go to the cells while we figure out how to either get your case expedited and you seen early, or you could go and see the Oracle. From what I understand it, if you go and see the Oracle right now and the Oracle determines that you have paid your penance and that you have nothing to answer for here, you can go free straight away and we can pursue other ways to interact with the magistrate. I don't want to have you incarcerated unnecessarily. The question is do you know if the likely outcome of what that oracle is going to say? And if the likely outcome of what that oracle has to say might lead to you having to come to the jail anyway, you may want to go straight to the jail for the moment. I'm basically saying, if you've got any bodies that you got hidden in the cupboard that they don't know about, the Oracle's gonna know.
But now I'll just go straight to the cells, because honestly, there are a few things Willis is not being entirely truthful about.
I thought that might be the case, and I don't want to get you in more trouble than you have to until we can figure out a bit more.
Alright, so I'll comply for now and go straight to the cells.
Before you do that, I just turn to Cheval and Zal. I'm like, I guess you guys don't have any better ideas in how to handle this.
Well, right now, we kind of got plunged into the deep end on this, so...
Cheval's going to wait outside the courtroom until the magistrate leaves.
Okay. I'm happy to do that and do that with you. I also remind Vivilius that I can always visit like I did earlier. Meow. Hopefully everyone thinks I'm strange, but Vivilius gets the idea that I can turn into a cat and give him some keys. Unless, of course, he wants to, like, Eldritch blast the doors or something. He's a ranger, though. He can't do that.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I can only do basic, like, healing magic, stuff like that.
You might be able to blocks.
Yeah, very rudimentary type stuff.
We're not going to leave you there, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I'm sure a jailbreak won't be a worse crime in town than petty theft.
Oh, I put my hand on his shoulder and then I hand him a cookie. The food's probably awful in there. Take this.
Yes, as awful as the meat is, the food's probably just as bad.
Okay, so you find yourself in a fairly clean room with a very clean bed. Not like the sort of cells you're used to among human society. But the bed is only about 5 feet long, so you do hang off the end of it.
So you kind of sit with your knees bent and your feet on the floor and the rest of you on the bed.
Alright, so I guess I'll just choose to meditate for the time being.
Do you have a god?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, you could pray to your god. That might help.
He would have a religion he follows.
Yep.
Otherwise, his character wouldn't have survived adulthood. Well, it's a well-known thing that once you have passed through puberty and become an adult, that you have 7 days to live or find religion.
When you're an elf?
When you're an adult of any race.
Oh, really?
Yes, because you will not sleep again until you find religion.
How have I not heard of this
Because
before?
every character has religion.
Oh, okay.
You cannot, you gain 1 level of fatigue every night until you die.
That is exceptional.
It's because the gods keep the demons away.
Scary.
And if you don't follow a god, no one keeps the demons away.
Well, fair enough.
And the demons are looking for as many souls as they can get.
Yes.
Alright, and I'm not too familiar with the D&D gods, so...
Well, there are 180 gods in this setting, so there's quite a few to be familiar with.
Martin will happily help you pick out a god at some point. and tell you what advantages that will give you.
Or they help you supernova a town that deserved it.
In Cheval's case, yes, they will.
Well,
And in Cheval's case, probably going to happen very soon. And then Drazzle's going to have to take us back in time. But that's okay. It'll look magnificent when it happens.
Yeah, it was kind of impressive.
Supernova in a town. I wasn't there for that one, was I?
you heard the story.
Yeah, I've just heard about the supernova ring.
So-
We might mention it like, I don't know, every few weeks. I'm sure it's probably a famous bard tale by now.
Oh, it's got to be.
So Ivalas finds that he's been given some decent food and cleared water for the night. They seem to know what elves eat.
Well, at least they know what you're likely to eat.
Yeah, just
And with the others waiting outside the courthouse, you see two guards and what Thala recognizes as the magistrate walking out the front doors.
I lean down and whisper to Zal, "There's the douchebag right now." Do they know what a douchebag is in D&D setting?
Quite possibly.
Okay.
I also still have my dinner date, so
You do.
that might be worth going to.
Your dinner date shortly.
Yes.
Though he leaves long before your dinner date.
Oh, okay.
He leaves generally mid-afternoon. The cafe owner, tavern owner told us.
Now, magistrate duties do go beyond just sentencing people.
So I point out the magistrate to Cheval and Zal.
Jamal starts to waltz straight towards the magistrate.
He makes the two guards pause as he turns to Cheval and goes, "What does this paladin wish to say?" Saying paladin with a bit of a exclamation.
Paladin.
Your Honor, I'd like to question some of the sentences that you have provided here.
They're all on record, and you should be able to check at the High Court of Darrakan City for what they have applied to each of the people I have prosecuted. What in particular do you object to? That they're guilty?
Not so much if they're guilty or not.
And that they
but
hadn't been... They had gone untreated for these crimes for many years, and that's also acceptable to you?
I will say there is speculation that you are forcing the guilty verdict upon your defendants.
They're unable to speak a lie in my courtroom. Is that not the way of paladins? You do not like people lying to you?
No, I don't like people lying to me.
Neither do I.
I allow them to have a fair voice.
Well, they can speak the truth. If they can't speak the truth, then they do not speak in court.
There's the truth and then there's mitigating circumstances.
If it's mitigating circumstances is also the truth, that is different.
But when your defendants are in a situation where they're forced to speak only in very black and white terms, how then are you able to discover what the mitigations are?
Well, if the truth is that these circumstances make them not guilty, then they should be able to say not guilty.
What if they don't realise they're not guilty? What if they feel they are guilty when actually the guilt does not lie upon them?
That's not what my court determines.
I give you an example. A husband decides to ask his wife to go a different way, so he's got a bit of extra time so he can set up a surprise for her But in going down that different path, she trips and falls and suffers a life-ending injury, a fatal injury. Were you to ask him if he is at fault for that, he may blame himself because he told her to go to the different path.
Yes, but that's why we have magic in play.
And how does your magic ensure that these people aren't being falsely accused? And what if these people have already been brought to justice for their crimes and done their time?
If they've already done their time, then that's not a crime we're prosecuting. As long as their time wasn't a slap on the wrist for something that normally does jail time.
Why do you get to determine that if the culture and the place that they're in at the time has determined the penalty appropriate to their culture and their religion? How are you to naysay their culture and
Are you
religion?
questioning my right as a magistrate to...
No, I'm merely discussing a theoretical discussion of trying to understand your system, because if your system is indeed fair, I should be allowed to discuss this with you, and I'm not saying that you don't have a right to. I'm merely asking, how is it that you are able to determine this? And
I only determine guilt or innocent. I do not determine sentence.
who determines their sentence?
The High Court of Darkin. And then they talk to the person to find out of an appropriate sentence relating to each case. We provide all the information, they do the sentencing.
What do you do when you want to detect whether or not someone's being influenced by something?
Insight.
Can I do that?
You can.
What an answer for every... do I have a reroll?
Yes.
Jail for you! Please be good to me. I need good dice today. Ooh. Right.
So be +4, +5, so +9 to the roll.
23.
23. Okay, he seems to be telling you the truth as he believes it. He believes he's doing justice for the nation and stopping those who would commit crimes from re-committing those crimes.
Where does the Rakshasa come into it, though? And how do you figure out where the Rakshasa comes into it? Obviously not said aloud to the magistrate. That would get myself in trouble. Do you guys have any more questions? I'm kind of stuck.
I'd like to question one's jurisdiction.
Yep.
He does say that if criminals are in his region, he has the right to prosecute them for crimes they have committed against the nation of Darkin.
Where, so, he probably wouldn't have told us this, but I'm going to go, Travel's going to go firmly believe that there is currently a prosecuted person outside of your jurisdiction that you have arrested inappropriately.
In that case, then, and until they have time with the Oracle to prove otherwise, then he can't help you. His hands are tied until an Oracle has had a chance to see to them. Everyone gets an Oracle free of charge. He has paid for the time of the Oracle.
Okay.
And if the Oracle determines that the crimes were not committed as part of the nation of Darkin, then he has no interest in prosecuting them.
Alright.
Zal, do you have any questions?
Em, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. So, in the cell at the moment, you have a visitor outside speaking to Ivilius, asking, have you changed your mind about a reading from an oracle?
What do you guys think?
I would
Should I just take the oracle reading?
Do you believe that your crimes were a part of this region?
No.
Then I would take the oracle reading.
Alright. Alright, I'll go with that. I'll submit and take the oracle reading.
And do you willingly accept this spell being cast upon you? The oracle says.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Okay, so you see the person start casting a spell.
All the pies are put away.
Okay. After probably about a minute or so, you remember committing the various crimes you have and where you committed them. And none of them seem to have been in the Darkin region or against Darkin merchants. And after that time has passed, you feel a little more relaxed as they leave.
Alright, good stuff.
Okay. Okay. Yep. And so after he leaves and comes back, a guard comes up and opens the door and lets you out.
This is a very interesting process. Do I know what spell the oracle cast?
You would if you were in the room.
Oh, I was not in the room.
Well, no, he was by himself.
Does Cheval know the spell?
Chevelle was with the...
None of us were in the room with him. He didn't ask for representation, therefore he was alone.
Wait, so we got moved out of the cell?
And he's been released.
Are we still with the magistrate?
You are.
I asked the magistrate, is it possible that you could allow us to witness these proceedings so that we can understand the kind of justice and law that you carry out? And perhaps, and I explained to him that I am a recorder of these sorts of procedures and laws, and perhaps this is something other societies might be able to do, but in order for me to write about it for other people to understand what you're doing, I would beg the grace of yourself to observe the whole process from the moment a person is identified to the moment they are either sentenced or released.
Well, I normally only hear about it after they've been arrested.
Would you allow me a capacity to be an observer in your courtroom and to be an observer with your local officers and perhaps your oracle? Would that be something?
Possibly tomorrow. I'd have to discuss it with each of them. Not all of them like having interference.
Understandable, and I would promise to observe only and to not interfere with any activities.
There is a slight problem of being an elven among some of these.
Perhaps then my human friend here might be able to undertake these observations.
Which one? The one with the annoying paladin?
Or the my friend here, who is just as observant as I am, and would be less objectionable, obviously, and we very much it. From the sounds of things, the way you're doing things does seem like a very lawful way to live, and it is something that I would like to. It's knowledge I would like to pass on.
And while you're discussing this, you see that Vilius has been let go.
I need to find out what happened, I guess. But I'll does Vilius approach us? Does he say anything?
I approach him and just say nothing.
I'd still like to do the observation.
He might be able to arrange something by tomorrow. It'll take him some time to sort it out with
Of
people.
course, I absolutely understand, and this is at your discretion. I just prevail upon your tolerance and your patience and your love of justice, and I'll give him the name of where we are and tell him I will await his message. But of course, he needs time to discuss things and arrange things, and I'm very open to waiting. This seems like a process of such import that I would be more than willing to wait out the time it would take to put the arrangements in place. And if it turns out that he decides not to, I would be accepting of this as well.
Says, we can discuss further tomorrow.
Thank you.
He says. That's good day, and starts walking off.
Turn to Vilius. What the happened? Bleep, bleep. I'm just bleeping out my own F words.
What the bleep happened?
Yeah. Well, technically, as an elf in
What the leap happened?
Nemiston.
yeah, what the leaf happened. That's very appropriate. What the twig is
Well, it could
going
be-
on here?
What the fallen leaf happened?
What the trunk?
Or root it all.
One of my favourites is Holy Connection, but it doesn't get used very much these days. I feel like if I were to use it in everyday life, though, like if I'm in like the sauces aisle of Woolworths and they don't have what I want in there, I'm going, Holy Connection! There's no mayonnaise again. Everyone will look at me like I was just a bit batty.
Quite possibly.
But it would be fun.
I do love a good Holy Connection.
I did, just for fun, one day on our help desk, we all agreed, instead of saying cool, we would say toasty. So we're like, okay, toasty, we'll get that done. We just wanted to see how many people would notice. Lots of people noticed.
That's great.
We figured it was a way to make a funner day.
Hey, I did get the party member to say by Gorm for quite a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Bagong.
I think we all instinctively just fire.
My God.
It's even spread to other games, Bagong.
It's infectious.
Even Mia, when she was like a small baby, was doing the bygone symbol.
Oh, that's awesome. You got to keep that going.
Yes, you've got the date coming up.
Yes, we've got the date coming up, but I had also asked Vilius what had happened.
I decided to take the oracle reading and was proven not guilty.
Interesting.
Do you believe not guilty of crimes in Durakan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so it definitely has to be in the dark region.
That's very curious. Before Zell departs for her date, I let them know I'm just going to go see if I can track down a library and do some research. Does anyone want to come with me?
I'll tag along.
Okay. So our plans, I think Cheval might end up chaperoning Zal. Unless you want to go on a library trip. Let's all go to the
why are you
library.
chaperone?
Let's all go to the library. No?
You mean Zal doesn't need a chaperone because of all that necromancy that you do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh dear, there's some very non-PG thoughts coming to my brain right now. You know, raising the dead.
Raising hell?
Hmm.
That's normally a demon summoner. Demonologist.
Yeah, no, mine were a lot worse than that. So much less PG.
Given that, you know, technically I really haven't done necromancy.
Well,
Hey, in a few years.
Yeah. I did it a few years ago, it doesn't matter. So what did you do a few years ago? Oh, I just raised an undead army. It's nothing. I'd be
when was the
good.
last time you used chill touch?
That's a good point, actually. Yesterday, I think.
Yep. That is necromancy.
Yeah, so... Cheval, are you going to accompany Zal, or go back to the hotel? Go to the library?
No, stick with Zal.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll investigate this town a little bit.
And you'll be very judgy and preachy on Zal's actions.
Yep.
Absolutely, I think this is the way to go. There's nothing like having a chaperone to make a date go well.
Yeah, great.
And especially a holier than thou chaperone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One that's blinding.
Why don't you look at me? Ah!
Might end up being a really short date.
I'll just tell my date the trick of, you know, not talk.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I'll inform my date about not looking directly.
Ah, right. If he doesn't look directly at Cheval, he won't get paladin screamed at him.
Yep. It's not too bad once you practice it. And you learn quickly.
Okay, so you head out to the Stoneheart Inn. And manage to get yourself a table waiting for your date.
Do you even know this guy's name? You might want to find that out.
I mean, he didn't introduce himself. And I didn't introduce myself either, I don't think.
Yeah, this is
I'll
interesting.
come
So
out.
this
I'll
is
come out
literally
on
a
the
double blind date in a way. Except you guys set yourselves up.
Sounds like Tinder. Left, 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 left. Right. What was the other way around? Right, left.
To be honest, I'm not sure it matters.
You just swipe the right way, the wrong way. I'll go, whoops, how do I undo that? Can't undo it.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you're waiting, the others reach a library and coffee house.
Thank you for putting the coffee in there. Does the library have a reference section?
It does.
I go over to the reference section and I start looking amongst all the themes. I'm looking for religious tomes. Does anything stand out?
A lot of the stuff they have here are woodworking techniques and practices.
I go to find the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them if they have any texts on religion.
It says we did, but no one checked them out for years, so we sold them.
Oh, you can't tell me there's none in the basement or something?
We would have had a basement, except the ground here is not the best to dig basements in. It fills up
God,
with water
I really
too
need
quickly.
that luck of chaos or like a fate dice where there's like, it turns out there's a whole reference library in the basement.
The people here aren't particularly religious.
I understand that, but surely they're interested in theology and things like that on occasion.
We do have the great schools at Salonika and Darrakan City that they can go to study theology, and all the temples there willing to preach whatever you want to hear about.
Okay. So there's no religious texts here whatsoever.
So I might have some sort of religious text somewhere in there, but I'm not sure what it covers. Or
Are there any local historians who might know about religious things?
we got a couple of retired priests in town.
Do they hopefully hang out at a local cafe or tavern where I could go and ask them lots of nosy questions about religious stuff?
Well, she can give you their addresses and you can hassle them directly.
Indeed, I would like to do that, since there seems to be no other option. If you would please.
She writes down about 10 different names.
Oh, that's more than I expected. Going to the cafe, or the tavern cafe part, are they selling any of Carl Crix's coffee and cookies?
They do have the coffee, but not the cookies.
Oh, okay. Do they have any muffins or anything like that there?
They do have some muffins.
Alright.
Now with meat flavour.
Do they have any non-meat flavoured muffins?
Apparently they don't sell too well here.
But do they have any?
Yes, they happen to have some.
Oh! I buy a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
That's one for me, one for Vivilius, and then one for each of my priests. Never go anywhere without a bribe.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're not into meat flavoured muffins and I've just bought them a bunch of muffins they don't want. Alrighty. I turn to Vivilius and I say, let's go on an adventure!
Alright, lead the way, Captain.
We head to the first address.
So while you're doing that,
Yep.
back at the inn, you see the
Meanwhile,
official walk in. He's wearing what appears to be his best suit. All brushed clean and
God, I
smooth.
feel sorry for this guy. He's probably not even going to get a muffin out of it.
But you're saying Zal?
No! He totally wants to date Zal, and Zal's probably going to tell him, I'm not interested in dating.
I mean,
He's going to end up broken-hearted, is why I feel sorry for him.
oh well.
So, in a way, a compliment towards you, but not so good for him.
Zal's, I probably doesn't have, like, really nice clothes, but he has better stuff than just his general stuff.
Though unfortunately, you didn't say you went home and changed.
Never mind. I'm probably still just still my gear then.
Somehow, I have a feeling he will still be happy. He's wearing his best suit.
He comes over and sits down. You see he does have a holy symbol on his tunic. Give me a knowledge religion roll.
Ooh. Where's Cheval in all of this? At a nearby table or sitting with them?
Yeah.
Same table, most likely.
Same table? Okay. I just want to picture this really vividly because I think it's going to be fun.
That was really good.
I believe Cheval is the chaperone between these two guys.
Yeah.
Religion, did you say?
Yes, religion.
You know it's going to turn out that this guy's the Rakshasa.
Yeah, probably. 27.
27. Okay, you recognize the symbol of Asterius, the god of the moon.
Can you say spell Asterius for me?
Asterius.
Asterius. Thank you. God of the moon.
And thievery.
Moon and thievery.
And merchants.
And merchants, but thievery. How interesting. I'm starting to want to date with this guy. I before E except after C, right?
Do I know anything else about this guy apart from those couple of facts?
Okay, I shall quickly look it up with what you rolled. Have to look it up on the other side. Let's see.
Not one of the 100 and whatever gods you've moved across yet?
Well, I haven't moved any of the gods across yet. That's part of the problem. Okay. Okay, so you do know that he is the patron of healing, merchants, money, profit, thieves, trade, travel, cleverness, and communication.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And in this region, he's known as Hermod. Whereas the Thaiad Empire call him the Merchant.
Would I believe that he... I can ask and see how he answers. I say in passing, I see you have the holy symbol of... What was his name again, sorry?
Asterius.
Asterius. Were you a merchant prior to being a clerical magistrate?
So it's just about all merchants of Darakan pray to Asterius.
I have not seen such openness.
Well, it's a special occasion. I haven't had a date in years.
I guess point to your seat and say, sit down.
He happily sits down and says, he acknowledges your chaperone for the evening. Without looking at the paladin.
Oh, I see you've already picked up the trick.
I was advised that looking at her directly would cause the brain to explode after a while.
Yes. But relatively quickly in the company of her to not look directly at her. I say kind of like trying to stop myself from side-eyeing her.
My name is Thalius the Scribe.
I introduced myself as Sahel Einheim from the Plains.
Yeah, he's,
from the Ethengar Plains.
as well as that's a fair way to travel to from here. There's not a lot of direct roads to there.
I hail from there, but I have not really seen much of my homeland in the last few years.
Well, they are fighting amongst themselves, fighting with their neighbours, and dealing with invasion. So it is quite a harsh place right now, he says.
Indeed, so I've heard.
At least they're not Akasoli. I hear they had a tree dropped on them.
Akasoli?
Says yes, the city across the lake.
That's where the master is, if you recall. The master, when we did that update to level 10, we discovered that one of the cities in Darrakan, Akazoli, had been invaded by the Master, and that a part of that invasion involved a mile-long piece of earth or stone upon which there was a large tree that was being used to tap into ley lines. And once that tree moved in over the city of Akazoli, it was now under the dominion of the Master, who is the person we will eventually be waging war against in about 12 months' time-ish, if not less.
I will say the magistrate, I believe it was a bit more than a, what did you say, form?
He said tree.
Oh, did you say tree? Okay. I would say tree is an understatement there.
Well, that's what his report said. He reads all the reports that come through.
Yes, well, by normal tree standards, but, you know, a wide tree appearing out of thin air is quite extraordinary.
Well, from what he heard, it flew for a while before it landed. You wouldn't want to be the person who had to lug that thing around if it's that big.
Yeah, I don't think it was a person lugging it around, but we'll leave it at that.
He shrugs. Information didn't say who it was or what it was.
So he doesn't say whether it's the Master. He doesn't make any references. Oh, I'm not there. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'll go back to eating my muffin and my priests.
So he doesn't know much more than that, and I'll move over to Ariadna and the first person you go off to see.
Hopefully we don't have to knock on 10 doors. If I'm really lucky, the first door we'll knock on will know all about Rakshasas and tell us everything we need to know, and then turn into a Rakshasa, and then I'll be going, where's Shivalanzo? Okay, right.
So you want to meet the Rakshasa out first?
No. Please ignore everything I just said. That's my ADHD coming out.
Okay, so the first person on your list is called Dahlia the Bright.
Dahlia the Bright. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. I haven't quite finished writing up the other stuff, so I'm going to start this on a new page.
And when you reach her house, it's a rather dull-looking house.
Interesting. I knock on the door, but not so loudly as to cause concern.
And the door opens, you see a little halfling.
And I say, greetings. My name is Thala. I am a tree speaker. I am new to this town, and the librarian, I was looking to do some research into some religious things, and the librarian tells me you may be able to help me with some information that I'm trying to find, considering they sold all of their religious texts.
Sort of looks at you. I sort of open for a little bit, and then turns around and yells out, "Mom, there's a strange elf at the door, wanting to talk to trees."
Yeah, that works as well. Lucky I didn't put the muffin up front. Although maybe. You never feed children food unless you ask their parents first, though.
Okay, and you get a rather larger halfling come up to the door and going...
I repeat myself with a little bit of a mix of I'm a bit embarrassed, but I'm also amused because, come on, that was kind of funny. And I also say, what a beautiful daughter you have.
Well, you're welcome to come in, though you might want to watch your head.
I certainly will. Is it, or I have my companion with me, Vivilius.
Yes, elves are welcome here.
This is good.
Though the chandeliers do hang at about 5 feet.
I am very much hoping she doesn't have 6 children, and that I don't have to give out all of my muffins, and I offer her a muffin for her and her child, and suggest a cup of tea or coffee.
She's got tea and coffee.
Coffee.
And her homemade muffins.
Oh well, they're probably better than mine. But if you want to, you may take mine. If not, I'm happy to hold on to mine and offer them to other people's.
And plus, she also has a 3-course snack being currently made.
This could be a good first stop, I say to Vivilius.
I will say nothing.
I will politely move the chair aside at the table, I presume, and just sit on the floor.
Your head almost comes up to the roof anyway.
Yeah, I figure that's the best thing to do.
It is hard navigating the house.
Yeah. If I hit my head, similar to the way Gandalf smacked his head on the chandelier, I will take it as part and parcel of being tall.
But the place inside is brightly coloured all over the place. Very complimentary and glaring at times.
Sounds very halfling-like. I tell her I'm sorry to intrude on your evening. I was wondering if you had any textual knowledge of religious themes. In particular, I'm trying to find more about the darker side of religions, unfortunately, for I fear I might have to face some darker opponents.
Well, all religion teaches about darkness and light.
Yes. In this
Because you
case,
can't have light without darkness or darkness without light.
this is also true. However, a good balance is always preferred, and sometimes darkness encroaches too much into the light. And
Well, we call that winter.
I'm talking more of things like demons.
Yeah, well, as long as you remember to follow a religion, you're generally fine.
Yes, but not all people follow religions, and some people they make mistakes, and they can get tricked into following things that they don't mean to. And I aim to try to help them out of those situations because, as you learn over the course of a life, mistakes the way you learn, but they're not necessarily mistakes. You shouldn't be killed for your mistakes. And when you're dealing with demons, quite often the consequences of that are far greater than what people expect.
Really depends on the demon because you go all the way from the little evil all the way up to the major evil.
I'm particularly trying to find out about Rakshasas. Rakshasas. Ah, crap. We're going to the next house.
Well, she has heard that they are rather tricksy. But considering very few of them are small, you don't find a lot of them in the halfling lands.
No, I appreciate and understand that.
So she doesn't really know too much about those animal beasts.
I appreciate that. I have the librarian has given me a list of names. Would you be able to direct me to someone who might have knowledge that is more relevant?
Relevant?
Okay, so it goes down the list and goes, well, this one here, Zealous the Pure.
Zealous the Pure.
Yeah, he's a follower of the Eternal Truth.
Okay.
The Desert People.
Oh, okay.
And has many dealings with the genie and witchcraft.
That could be useful.
So just be careful what you ask for around him, as he doesn't really like people saying "I wish something."
I'll be careful not to make wishes in his presence. Thank you very much for your time. And we take our leave. So he follows the Eternal Truth, the desert something?
From the deserts nearby, deserts of Yularum.
Yep. Yep. And what was the last thing?
Be careful what you say about wishes around him.
Don't make wishes.
Because he's dealt a lot with genie and their type.
Don't ask for wishes. Alright, we make our way over to see Zealous.
You see that his building itself has a nice warm feeling around it.
Oh, well, this is pleasant.
It seems a bit lighter when you step up to the door. Doesn't feel as dark around here.
I make note and take appreciation, and I take a moment to actually take in everything because I want to sketch this in my sketchbook later for my tree. But right now I really just want to try and get some information about Rakshasas because right now we have no clue what's going on here. Like, everything seems above board, but I don't know enough about Rakshasas to know what is the motivation here. So yeah. So I knock on the door.
You knock on the door, and the door opens on your knock.
Spiel.
And you see an empty hallway.
Oh, okay. Well, no spiel then. I say...
And down the hallway you hear pure of heart may enter.
Step through. I look back at Vivilius and let him know he can either come in with me if he feels he's pure of heart, or he can wait outside. I don't mind.
I decided to wait outside for this one, for I'm doubting my purity.
Interesting. Do you need me to get you?
A drink.
Yep. I can
So
do that.
while you're doing that, I will switch over to Em and Josh's meal.
Hey,
Zol has been trying to keep the conversation relatively light and trying to avoid sort of overtly asking too many questions about his work. So just, like, if it is, like the tree we were talking about before, problem memories of his family,
Well, he does say that he moved away from his family because of his posting here as the administrator of the town. So he works with the magistrate and the town mayor to do all their basic administration.
And where did you originally hail from?
Oh, he was brought up in Darken City. He grew up in an orphanage because, most of his family was killed by orcs and adventurers.
It's going to be the Rakshasa, isn't he?
Well,
You know, adventurers who don't really seem to think what they're doing and just kill everyone.
this is all kind of actually the side eyes shove out this time. And then winces and moves away.
Well, adventurers don't need much to decide to go off and kill a bunch of people.
No, some of them don't.
All you just have to do is dangle a reward. They don't even ask what crimes they've done.
Is that pointed? Is that said in a kind of, I mean you?
It's not like it's in some of their backstories.
No, not at all.
And then he asks, so what is it you do for a living?
an adventurer.
Mostly we adventure around. I was gonna say the world, but it's more like this.
I would like to remind you as a player, Zal, you're actually employed, so you undertake commissions to do research and help people.
I mean, technically that's still adventuring.
Yes, but said that way, you might get more information out of him.
Yeah, maybe. I was planning to get there, but in a more roundabout way.
Well, considering you're using the word adventurer, I'm going to give you a persuasion check, a charm check with disadvantage.
I'll check with disadvantage.
Let's see.
To be fair,
That would make it a persuasion check with disadvantage.
I was going to say, to be fair, Zal's not exactly a diplomat, is she?
No.
No. That was a 9.
That was a 9. He says, so, adventurer heart right after I said I don't like adventurers. Are you trying to ruin this date?
My apologies. Maybe not quite clear enough. We are employed through a investigation service. So not so much adventuring to kill, but adventuring to gain information.
Which service do you work for?
Nope, you're role playing it. I'm gonna shut up.
I'm pretty sure we just called the investigation bureau, isn't it? Or is it specifically Red Rings?
It is Redrian's Investigation Bureau.
He has told us before to not specifically say it, hasn't he?
Well,
Yes.
he said not to talk about his past and who he really is.
But not so much like.
He is known as a merchant prince in the city, so dropping his name does get you some kudos with people.
Okay, in that case, I will say with Red Rings investigation bureau.
Well, he has heard of that group. They seem to be mostly okay. We did hear about a couple of them who were arrested and executed for murdering a bunch of elven children.
Was that you guys?
Well, like I guess in anything there's always a bad bunch.
Well, not far from Selenica, they wiped out an entire 2 generations of elves.
Yeah, that's not good.
Again, was that you guys before I joined you?
No, actually.
Usually, it was Wednesday night
Thank goodness.
before David joined them.
Oh. I was gonna say, if Calcrix and Thala find out what you guys have really been up to, they're gonna be horrified.
Yeah, no.
Yep, thankfully, no.
He does talk about how at one point news of their infamy got out and a child in town threw some rotten food at one, and so one of their numbers pulled a sword and killed the child in town.
Oh my goodness, is this Wednesday, really?
Well, basically they said if anyone was to make an attack on them, they would attack them in return.
Wow.
Any form of anything thrown at them was considered an attack.
Mental note, don't join Wednesday's group, they're far too murderous.
Most of those have left.
Oh, okay, well, that'll be alright.
Okay.
Is that a horror setting?
No. It was how they were playing.
Whew. That's hardcore.
Whereas most of our deaths sort of are unintentional.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is, I could have said throws a compliment and still initiated combat. Because anything thrown in their direction was an instant initiative roll.
It's all good.
So, yes, so you hear about the horrors of one of the unfortunate groups that Redrian had tried to cultivate.
Well, as far as I'm aware, I don't recognize any of the names or people you described, so I do not think they're in Redrin's employ.
Well, you do remember that they did end up on the gallows not long after the arrest.
Correct. Well, yes. They got the justice they deserved. Question mark?
Well, they couldn't actually kill them for the amount of times that they killed the elven children, so it was sort of a moot point. The elves felt like they'd gotten the best they could out of it.
Yeah. This person I'm coming on date with, he's human, yes.
He is human.
Yep. Well, turning from slightly depressing events of the past, do you have dreams of the future?
He's hoping to have his application for the Darkin Diplomatic Corps accepted, where he can move up and become either a diplomat's aide or a diplomat sometime in the future.
Well, I wish you well in those endeavors.
Well, if you could put a word in his favour, he would be greatly appreciated.
Technically,
sure
you have an
Redrin-
award of service with Darrakan. You could put a good word in for him.
Yeah, well, I can say that I'm sure we have contacts through the agents of the Bureau, whatever we're called. Do you have anyone specific that you would like to work for or, preside over?
Well, first he's actually got to get through the training.
Then any preference in
He's just hoping to get accepted by the training facilities out in Darrakan City.
well, I will make sure that good word gets around.
He's much appreciated. He knew you were a great person to talk to.
You see Zol blush a little bit. He's not used to receiving such compliments.
And then
Considering his company.
that is true.
Yeah, Ranger.
What did you say?
Veiled Ranger.
Failed Ranger. Ah, but successful romancer.
And successful cleric.
Yes.
Successful necromancer.
Yes.
Wizard, thank you.
So going back over to Zalesh the Pure.
Zalist the Pure?
Yep.
Yep.
You're meeting him in his house.
Yes.
What can I do for an elf about the town? He says.
Hopefully you'll forgive me for being direct.
I prefer direct. Saves time.
This is precisely what I'm hoping to do. I'm looking for information. The librarian suggested a number of people. And Dahlia, alongside with feeding us a very lovely meal, suggested that you might be able to answer my questions about demons, in particular Rakshasas.
Well, I've dealt with many demons in my time.
Do you know anything about Rakshasas?
He says, they are really a bugger to defeat in combat.
Well, I've been assigned to look into one, and I may find myself facing from them. I'm trying to determine what their motivations are. Are Rakshasas ever good? Do they ever do things in the interest of good?
He sighs and says, to be honest, Rakshasas are considered beings of evil
I thought so.
and law.
Okay, so they do believe in law.
Yep. And laws carried out to the extreme can be quite evil.
Yes, I agree. So if, in theory, there was a Rakshasa about, they might be manipulating things to push normal, good, law-abiding people to follow a more extreme version of the law.
Quite possibly.
What if the person that is being manipulated by this Rakshasa isn't actually involved in the sentencing? They actually send them away. So they can't actually mete out sentences, and therefore I don't think these extremes can be met then. They simply decide guilt or innocence and then move them on for sentencing. Is there a... What would a Rakshasa get out of that kind of contract?
He pauses for a little bit and thinks. He says, well, if a Rakshasa was involved in it, he would apply for the harshest sentences.
So are there actually recommendations that would go off from a magistrate, say, to the courts about those sentences?
He says normally, yes. Normally the magistrate applies a sentence which can then be appealed by the High Court.
I see.
And it's been probably about a year since the magistrate here applied any sentences himself.
Right. But would he have been recommending them?
He has not recommended it. He's just said guilt or innocence confirmed, and what they've been guilty of.
I see.
It's unusual.
It is unusual. Which is my conundrum here is being asked to investigate what the case is, and as far as I can tell, there is no harm being done here.
He sighs and goes, well, harm is in perception and relative.
Yes.
So the town has become stricter in the last year, but less crimes have been committed.
So you feel that perhaps there's been a loss of their capacity to dance, shall I say?
More of a loss of freedom. Freedom to choose.
I was trying to make a Footloose reference. Oh my goodness!
He looks at you and goes, Footloose?
No.
Hmm.
Alright. Yes, freedom. And given time, I presume the tighter and tighter this grip gets on this town, the more the town will choke for lack of freedom.
Just possibly. He has his own thoughts about such stuff.
May I ask you what they are?
Well, if he was to enter into an agreement with another being, say a demon or a devil, he'd want something in return, and probably want to put in some safeguards so it can't be abused. That's what most people who summon imps and quasits, other forms of the little evils, do.
So potentially, if someone like a magistrate were to enter into an agreement with Rakshasa, they could have made an agreement that doesn't actually cause harm because it has sufficient safeguards to prevent that.
Possibly, but again, it wouldn't be something you'd want long term.
Yes.
Over time, people do get corrupted.
How are such agreements usually broken?
Normally by the mortal not upkeeping the promise.
What if my interest was in saving the mortal who made the bargain?
They may not be at risk. It may be the town's at risk. It may be their offspring are at risk. It may be...
I see. So let's say that the whole town is at risk. I would be best off trying to destroy this Rakshasa, would that be right? Or at least send them back home?
Destroying it or sending it back home would only send it back home for so many days before it returns.
I see.
Because you don't kill it outright.
Is there any information about how you would rid a person or a township of such a demon long term?
Finding a way to nullify the contract, or killing the Rakshasa in its home.
In its home?
In hell.
How do you find... Oh, you have to go down to hell with it.
The old good intentions are paved to hell refer to Rakshasas in particular.
Yes, I can absolutely see that here.
And they are also very vindictive and malicious, so if you do interrupt their plans, there's a good chance they will spend the rest of eternity hindering you and your descendants.
Would you then agree that perhaps this is not something best dealt with by a group like myself, but possibly referred to people who are more specialist in this area?
Quite possibly. Do you have a demon summoner or a devilologist or...
Does necromancy count?
Not really, because they're not dead beings.
In which case I believe not.
Paladins are generally...
We do have a paladin with us, and she is a very formidable person.
Though no guarantee the paladin could stand up to a Rakshasa.
No, which is why I would like to do as much research as I can to best prepare ourselves in case we have to face this demon.
I would recommend talking to one of the high temples then, seeing what they can recommend, but whatever you do, if it doesn't nullify the contract, will result in it coming back.
So we also need to get a hold of the contract. How does one do that?
Normally it's kept on the Rakshasa or in a safe space by the Rakshasa.
Okay.
The person who I've got the contract with generally doesn't see it after they've signed it, because that gives them more chance to break it.
And this temple, would they be located in Selenica?
There are some in Selenica, but the best one is in Darrakan City.
Darrakan City.
Because it is the center of learning in this region. And you'll also find with the diplomatic training corps, they have a lot of clerics and advisors there who have dealt with the bargains of demons and devils in the past. Sometimes they call the Thiatans the demons and devils, but you get that.
So potentially we could be escorting Thalius the scribe. Is it Thalius? I think it is. Yep, Thalius the scribe to Darrakan City to become part of the diplomatic training corps and pick ourselves up a diplomatic training person and someone from a temple and bring them back to deal with our Rakshasa. Well, that's my player's thoughts. I can't think of any other questions to ask at this time. Are you... would it be alright if I came back if I had further questions to ask upon this?
You're welcome to come and go as you please.
And could I ask for you to keep this conversation as confidential as possible?
None outside this room can hear.
Okay.
Whoever's been scrying on this town can't see in this place.
I'm very grateful for that, because that was one of my worries when I came here. But I felt, considering how things are, I did not have the time to be more subtle. Would you like a muffin?
Sure.
I offer him a muffin.
Would you like the protection of the eternal truth?
Yes.
He hands you an amulet.
Thank you. I put it on and thank him very much for
Those
his
with
help.
magic cannot find you.
I very much am grateful for your help.
You know.
I bid him good evening. And I ask, just out of curiosity, the elf out there, would he have made it through the door?
He looks... Well, he's been in contact with evil, so probably not.
Oh, made a good choice then. You happen to tell whether or not he's someone I might be able to rely on in the future?
Depends on how much evil he likes.
Fair enough. Alrighty, thank you. Bid him good day. I grab Vivilius and I tell him, fortunately, we don't have to visit 8 other people. We can go back to the inn, and since we've already eaten at the Half-Elf place, we could get ourselves some rest, or we could go and get a table at the Stoneheart Inn and spy on Zal's date. Go on, go for the spy.
I like the idea of spying.
Absolutely. Let's go and engage in some. We're going to find out that it's all over, won't we?
No, you get in there, you see that there's someone playing a violin next to the table.
Awesome.
There quite a few people listening in on the conversation, so it's become a scene out of where there's 2 people sitting at a table with the chaperone and all the other people sitting around watching.
So how much goss can I catch up on right now? Do I discover all about everything?
Well, you hear that it is probably this guy's first date in town.
Oh, I see. Yep. Do I figure out that he's got hopes to join the diplomatic corps?
I'm sure that there's gossips about that.
Okay, cool. I send over some complimentary drinks that aren't of the meat-flavoured variety.
Coffee.
That'll do. I'm fairly sure anyone will drink it if it doesn't taste like meat. Is there a flower girl there, by the way?
There is.
Oh, I buy flowers and send them over to the table. Just one each, so they can exchange.
Okay, so Zal, you end up with a flower.
She's gonna throw it at me. I'll get beaten up with a rose until it's just no petals, just a twig.
I end up with a rose. Does it have any instructions?
Well, as you look at the rose and look around the room, you realise that the entire room has been sat, so they're all staring at you and your date.
You are now that rose ceremony show, whatever it's called, The Bachelor. Jeez, I can't believe I managed to figure that out. I don't watch those shows usually.
They certainly put enough ads up for it though. So.
They do.
Have to watch the shows with ads to pick it though.
Since streaming services, I've been greatly more protected from that kind of...
From randomness.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom is often surprised. She's like, "Oh, did you see this ad on TV?" And I'm like, "Do I watch normal TV anymore?"
No, but why would you want to watch a show where 25 girls are lined up to try and get a date with one guy?
Yeah, all Married at First Sight or any of those shows like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think with some of those he's already married, but married at first sight.
Yeah. No. All right. So back to game.
Yes. Is Lala sort of making like shifty eyes and sort of like gesturing at me to give the rose to my date?
Absolutely. I am like, go on, give me a rose, go on. I'm like your pom-pom team. Go, Zal.
My pom-pom team.
So you see Thala with bunches of roses similar to the one you were given waving around like pom-poms.
You know in those animes where they're being really serious, but in the background there's one or two people being utterly chibi and goofy in the background? That's Thala.
Yeah. I can imagine it perfectly.
Yeah.
And off to the side you see Drazzle has been busily drawing the scene.
That I'm not surprised by at all.
I take a break from cheering on Zal to tap Drazzle and say, after we finish up tonight, I'd like to walk you by a cottage, which I think would be great to make a drawing of, and if you like, we can sketch it together.
He flicks back to the previous page. You can see a picture of the cottage.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm very pleased to see that he's already come across the cottage.
With a rather shifty-looking elf out the front of it.
Unabashed by realizing that we have basically the whole town watching us.
Oh.
I present the rose to my date.
Okay, give me a performance roll.
And then Zal casts fog so that they can share a kiss without everyone watching.
Oh, well, actually, that's a good roll because I think my performance is shit.
I think this is Zal's first date, actually. I don't think we do much dating in these games as a general rule.
It's
a real first.
Sure Zal has not had time at all in the last 10 years.
Usually we're killing things. Especially things we shouldn't be killing.
Well, this is part of Zal's penance, right? Actually, like, going out and learning about the world.
To be honest, I'm surprised we're not all being dragged into that court by now.
Well, you haven't really committed crimes in the nation.
Since when we murdered an entire baron and all of his people just, about 4 weeks or so ago, or whenever it was, and then Drazzle had to take us back in time 13 days to undo our murdering hobo-ness.
That was in the Northern Reaches in Vestland, not in this country.
Yeah, fair enough.
So lucky for you.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't here, and I'm pretty sure no one knows that. No,
this is something we don't speak of.
That was 21.
Okay.
I rolled a 19, and my performance is 2.
That was a rather amazing flourish as you give the rose over. You see him blush a lot as he takes it.
You got to be careful. Occasionally, Martin marries you if he decides that you've earned it. I'm joking. He won't marry you.
Hey, I mean, as you said, this is probably Zal's first date ever.
It's Zal's last date ever.
And he thanks you much for the rose, and after having some dessert with him, he hopes to catch you another time.
We should be here for a few days at least, I think.
Says, if you have time, maybe again tomorrow, he says.
And tomorrow it is. I look forward to it.
And he heads off with a smile.
Do I have any spells that would hide my discussion from scrying bad peoples?
Not on you.
Not on me. I might need to find one in time for next game. Because I have a feeling that we shouldn't be talking about the Rakshasa in the open without some sort of protective circle. Because we will need to travel and get together all the things we need to kill the big bad evil guy.
Or convince him somewhere else to go.
Yes, or convince him to go somewhere else. Alright, so you guys have had dessert. Are we heading back to the inn together?
Sol feels like staying here for a little while instead of just, I don't know, contemplating life.
Does she wish to be alone, or would does he wish to be alone, or would he like company?
I'm sure the paladin would love to annoy the shit out of me right now, so...
Does the paladin want to annoy the shit out of Zal?
I don't think he's listening.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Paladin fallen asleep during dinner, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, never mind. So, I can sit here contemplating life without having the shit poked at me.
No, you'll know the shit poked out of you.
I don't know what happened.
All I know is you had googly eyes for the scribe.
It's a soul.
Then became a soap opera.
Unless
It becomes the next daytime TV.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless somebody stops me, Thala invites herself over to the table and says, I've been doing some research. We are going to need to do some major preparation to help things along here. But I feel we should probably leave town and report into Redrin. One of us should. It's not safe to talk in town about things.
Flo kind of nods. What says, I'm happy to stay back and keep an eye on things with my rusty steward over here.
Do you realize I'm going to have to leave and talk to Redrin because I have the staff?
Yes, or you can give the staff to me and I can leave and talk to Redrin. How long will it take us?
The paladin's let that out of his sight for like the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't mind if the paladin comes with me, but player question Martin, how long is it for us to get out of town, out of scrying range?
Well, scrying range, if they can trace you, can be anywhere on the planet.
Okay. So it's less that we have to get out of town and more that perhaps maybe we just need the right spell to protect us from scrying. Okay, so that might be something that Chevelle has.
So does Chevelle have any non-detection spells?
No.
Okay.
I was looking at taking Dispel Magic.
I've got
I'm
Dispel
sure
Magic.
I would be able to cast that at a high enough level to dispel anything like that.
Would Dispel Magic though, because I have Dispel Magic, I'm pretty sure I saw it in here. Would that prevent them from scrying on us though?
That or Magic Circle.
Yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of probably something like that, which I don't have.
Non-detection is the one you want,
Okay.
which is a level 3 spell.
And that's something I could learn?
You could learn or get a scroll from.
Okay. I'm guessing that in this no magic town, there won't be any easy places to get scrolls.
Because bards, rangers, and wizards can learn it, as well as people who do negation, obscurement, scrying, or utility spells.
So we could go to our good friend Zalist and maybe see if he's got some scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, technically I could learn it. How many, oh actually, I probably do have slots that I haven't filled out yet.
I'd say learning it would be very useful at this time, because I suspect that since from what I can tell from the discussion with Zalist, we're going to need to get a number of components together. This is a quest now. We're going to need to get ourselves the right information. We need to get the contract. We need to figure out how to track this thing back to hell, that kind of stuff. So we need to build up and prepare to kill the big bad evil guy, and that's never easy. Which is why they're called big bad evil guys. So we probably need to use the non-detection anytime that we want to talk openly about what we need to do to get rid of it. It sounds like a fairly formidable demon as well. And if Martin's indicating that even Cheval's going to have her work cut out for her, we should try and go in a little bit more prepared?
Yeah. I would say I would at least like to spend one more day in the town, because I did promise my day to another day.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting we leave permanently. I'm just trying to figure out a way where we can talk to Redrian. Because Redrian might go, nope, you've done your job. I don't want you to fight the big bad evil guy. I want you to go to this town and do this stuff. Or he might go, well, you guys need to deal with this. Here are some extra resources. And that might help as well.
Yeah, I mean,
we might end up... Oh, sorry.
If we could at least say another day for me to have the other day.
Absolutely.
And then, I'll also get all the details to also pass on the rendering if we're going back to Darrican.
Well, we might end up escorting your friend back to Darrican and giving him a personal recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, literally should be enough, because he hasn't been accepted yet, so him travelling to Darrican doesn't make sense right now.
I've seen weirder things happen.
True. But I presume he would feel more comfortable travelling once he's assured that he's been accepted into this training.
Yeah. That's something that we can deal with we'll probably deal with next game. And look, that's more your side of things, so...
Well, yeah.
We will, from what I understand from Zalist, we will need someone from the diplomatic training corps to help us with the contract to begin with. So we're going to be going there anyway, so we might just hand deliver a letter of recommendation for him rather than deliver him there.
Yeah. Though it probably would need Rodrian's seal, I guess.
Yeah, well, we could ask Redrian about that when we contact him.
Yeah.
And if we can get a scroll in the meantime for non-detection, we could possibly contact Redrian using the scroll, and in the meantime that gives you time to learn the spell. I don't know what the rules are about learning the spell.
It's learning spells is downtime.
Mm-hmm.
But given that I haven't picked out all the spells, I can learn through level up.
Oh, okay. So you could get it a lot quicker than I'm thinking.
I could have learnt it as a ritual as well.
Yeah, yeah. Did you say bards, rangers, clerics? It wasn't...
Bard, ranger, and wizard are the classes that get it
druids.
normally, but a lot of other things can get it through the secret crafts.
Oh, okay. So a druid could potentially get it as well?
Any class can get it.
It just sounds like
Even
a useful...
non-spellcasting classes can learn it.
Sounds like a useful thing to get. I'm presuming, Martin, that we're going to be probably rounding up the night.
So we will end up rounding up the night here. You did manage to get a lot of information about the Rakshasa. And enough to eventually learn that they're immune to spells of 5th level and lower.
Mm. They're immune to spells 5th level and lower.
Mm-hmm.
So what level are we in terms of spells?
The best of you, if you're a straight spellcaster, 5th level.
Yeah, so... Yeah. This is going to require maybe more than us. If we're just barely 5th level.
Or ability to follow and keep track of.
Yeah.
Because you believe, if you see what's happening and you believe as long as the magistrate's not imposing sentences himself, then you've got time.
Yeah, to get to a higher level?
Time to sort things out.
Okay, alright, yeah.
It could take years.
I mean, technically, I have 2 5th level slots.
Hopefully it doesn't take years. Is it likely to take years?
It could.
Really? We're talking game years though?
Yeah.
Okay. So not necessarily whole years.
Well, they are, to put it in player's perspective, they challenge a group of 13th level characters.
Oh, okay.
And the further you are away from 13, the harder it is for you.
So, if we're level 10 players and we're being asked to investigate this, does that mean that we're not expected to deal with it and I'm going down the wrong path?
Dealing with it can simply be you'll find out the details that you have and pass on that information.
Yeah.
Dealing with something isn't necessarily fighting it.
Yeah.
And having to remind people that sometimes some things are beyond your current capabilities and some things are trivial.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It is also nice to be able to resolve things and not just be finding information on things.
Well, this was one of those finding out information storylines.
Okay.
Because he was most of phase 2, which you're in, was investigation.
Yeah. What do you mean phase 2?
The storyline set for levels 6 to 10.
Okay, I see. Yeah. And so we'll determine what's going to happen when we talk to Redrian then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. And if Ross is here next fortnight, we might be dealing with pilfering anyway?
Might be, yes.
Yeah.
And see what happens there.
Bishops!
Someone, I'm not sure if you heard, would like to stay at least the extra day for my second day.
Yep.
Though we just kind of, like, I guess, not really do much around the town, but just continue to observe. And then Zol will have his second day.
And then get kidnapped and then never go on a date ever again.
So what, Zal will get kidnapped?
I was going to say, if Zal gets kidnapped, then we all go after her and kill the Rakshasa that kidnapped her.
And then wonder why Zal keeps changing sex.
Yeah.
Well, she'll learn to be a failed ranger.
Oh, because we keep calling her a her instead of a him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right.
And I will show my date, my sort of end letter of recommendation that I'm going to show Redrian for him. To sort of prove that I'm a person of my word.
You're very much into proving you're a person of your word more recently. This sounds cool.
I mean, I made the conscious choice after
Getting a second
sent
chance.
us back in time
Yeah.
to follow, to be not pushed around so much.
Yeah. Yeah, to follow through. And as I said, by all means, I am not going to rush you on if you're not ready to go.
And he does write you a he writes you a letter of introduction to the diplomatic corps if you haven't already seen them. So who to speak to and what he knows of it.
So we'll cover all about the start of next game, even if Ross is here and we end up doing Pilfering, we'll do Zol's thing and finish that off.
Zol's romance arc.
Zol's romance.
To be honest, I'm starting to wonder whether or not Zol just needs a bit of change in her life. His life, sorry. I'm sorry I keep changing your gender on you.
It happens.
It's worse when you have to remind the player.
Yeah, sometimes the player is like, I'm a girl. Then they start saying, he does this.
Oh no, it's fully aware that I was going on a man-to-man date.
Yeah. I was going to say, is this where we imitate Lady Gaga's bad bromance?
I don't know, probably.
I really don't want to sing Lady Gaga right now.
No. Either that or put a ring on her.
However, there is a heavy metal guy called Leander who does a really good heavy metal version of it, including the growly voice.
Which one?
Bad Romance. There's a guy called Leander.
You'll have to send me that later.
There is nothing like hearing the start of Bad Romance turn into thrash metal.
Okay, so at this point I might tie it up here for the night. And
I just want to say thanks in case if Rory doesn't stay online. Thanks for joining us.
I'm going to suggest staying online to say hello, goodbye afterwards.
Yep, that would be cool.
And I will do the end credits so we can then talk freely.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I get bogged down.
Right, well, I guess I'll catch you all in a fortnight, maybe. Right, well, probably just gonna sign off anyway because my sleeping meds are really starting to hit me really hard. Alright, see you all in a fortnight.